This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine Volume 25, dated 1999, August 13th, 20th, and priced at 420 yen. The main headline announces a 30-page special feature on Soul Calibur. Other highlighted games include Sentimental Graffiti 2, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 01, The War for Earth, Shenmue, D2, Seaman, Cool Borders Burn, and Espionage NTS. The cover also promotes a Dreamcast Cup Network tournament and a feature on creating a professional baseball team. A section at the bottom mentions Complete Guide and lists Frame Guide, which is known internationally as Air Force Delta, and Marionette Handler Akihabara Denu Gumi Patapis. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Seaman, a cohabitation training simulation game. It highlights the game as a new generation title, launching on July 29, 1999 in Japan. The advert promotes the game's unique concept and advanced graphics capabilities of the Dreamcast, and the standard price is listed as 6,800 yen. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Seaman, also known as Seaman Forbidden Pet in Japan. It highlights the game title in Japanese and features the Dreamcast logo, mentioning that it was developed by Vivarium and includes their website address. This page is the contents page for the Dreamcast Magazine issue from August 13, 1999. It highlights upcoming features including a big feature on Soul Calibur, detailing all game modes, basic controls, boss characters, system guides, techniques, character guides, developer interviews, and a costume contest announcement. Also featured is Pro Yaku Team Otsukuru, focusing on release information and game details, plus Shenmue, with a preview of the What's Shenmue demo. Other games mentioned in this issue include Sentimental Graffiti 2, D2, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story, At the Site of the Fallen Colony, Seaman, and Cool Borders Burn. There is also a section called Wall of Truth 7th Cipher. This page is the Dreamcast Game Index, listing a variety of titles and their corresponding page numbers within the magazine. It includes games like Akihabara Cyberforce Patapis, Air Force Delta, Espionage NTS, Elemental Gimmick Gear, Key to E, White Illumination with Wings, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 1, Aoni Samaru Senju, Cool Borders Burn, The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999, Shenmue, Seaman, Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2, Nippon Budokan 7th Cross, Evolution, Fighting Integration Disc, Sentimental Graffiti 2, Sengoku Turb, Soul Calibur, J-League Spectacle Soccer, Dancing Blade, D2, Frame Guide, Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team, Marionette Handler, Eternal. This page reports on the Akibax 99 Internet Show in Akihabara, Tokyo, held from July 17th to 20th. The event's theme was to introduce beginners to the Internet, highlighting the Dreamcast's online capabilities. Sega showcased Dream Passport 2 and the competitive mech action game Frame Guide at the event. Other Dreamcast games that were playable included Soul Calibur, Air Force Delta, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 0079, Rise from the Ashes, and Borders Burn. The event also featured stage programs. On the 17th, Yuka Wasenmu, the former managing director of Sega, writer and creator Ito Seiko, and illustrator Miura Jun, participated in network gaming. Alongside Akibax, the Dreamcast is Coming 99 Akihabara event was also taking place, emphasizing Dreamcast's presence in Akihabara partner shops. The page mentions a special Emergency Set Dreamcast bundle being promoted. This page is about various events and promotions happening around the Dreamcast launch timeframe. First up is the Sunrise Heroes Gathering event at Tokyo Big Sight, showcasing models and hobbies. Sunrise Interactive had a booth featuring playable demos of the Dreamcast game Sunrise Ayutan, which translates to Sunrise Heroes Story, and the WonderSwan game Herobots. There were also stage events with talk shows. Next is a campaign for Sega Freak's Akihabara store celebrating its first anniversary in July. They are having a sale until August 31st, with discounts on trading cards, and are selling lucky bags filled with Sega goods, including Dreamcast-related items and Dreama ga Na goods. There's also a giveaway for 5 lucky readers to win a color-setting book for Cyber Troopers Virtual on Oratorio Tangram for the Dreamcast. This book, Matrix Volume 01, will be released by Wave in August and features character color schemes for Temjin, Feiyen the Knight, Dordre, and Apharm the Hatter. Moving on, Tokyo Joyopolis is launching a summer horror event called Horror Jack 99. A new attraction, Ring Virus Infection Coaster, based on the movie Ring, is opening, alongside the Mad Street Haunted House, aiming to be the scariest. Lastly, there is an announcement about the reopening of Joyopolis H Factory in Yokohama on July 25th, produced by Hiromi. It aims to be a space where adults and children can enjoy themselves, offering various activities like watercraft sports, like jet skis. This page features various announcements and promotions. Firstly, an anniversary event at the Kanton Character Goods Shop featuring Hiroshi Fujioka, the actor who played Kamen Rider 1. Next, there's news about Nanja Town, an amusement park in Ikebukuro, Tokyo, highlighting power-ups and new attractions for summer. An event called Umanin's House is announced at Enoshima, featuring a popular character, Umanin, with related goods and events planned. Trading cards for the Dreamcast game with Yu Mitsumete Itai are being released early at Comic Market 56 by F&C with Alchemist. Binders will also be available. Finally, a new internet prepaid card service called CCHECK is being launched, allowing for online payments at convenience stores. A promotional campaign is mentioned with free ID credit for early subscribers. Trading cards for the anime Nankai Kiseki Neo Ranga are also being promoted, with packs available containing 10 cards and a total of 121 card types. This page highlights several upcoming music and album releases alongside promotional events. First, it advertises the release of a drama and vocal album called Debut Triangle Fruit Stories, featuring voice actress Kaname Mai, who plays 3 different girl characters. This album is scheduled for release at the end of August. Next, there's an announcement for an event with Sakura Chiharu in August to commemorate a CD release and an autograph session. This includes a past event from July involving seaside activities. Then, it mentions a first album release event for voice actress Kawakami Tomoko's Adolescence Doll album, which is happening on August 8th in Tokyo with talk and mini live sessions. Additionally, there is a prize giveaway of original stickers to 3 people to celebrate the release of Kyo's new maxi single, which features songs that were ending themes for the popular TV show Asayan. Finally, it highlights several music releases. Magic Tina's single priced at 1,223 yen. DA Pump's second album, Higher and Higher, for 3,059 yen. Okamoto Mayo's 20th single, Kiss the Magic Ring, for 3,059 yen. And Kokufu Mari's album, My Best Friend 2, for 3,059 yen. All of these are music releases rather than games. The Dreamcast software sales ranking features from Software's Frame Gride at number 1. A combat game with online play. Shutoku Battle, Tokyo Extreme Racer, a racing game, is second, exceeding 100,000 units sold. Sonic Adventure from Sega takes third, with a price campaign ending soon. Street Fighter 03, Saikyo Dojo, Street Fighter Alpha 3, is fourth. Fifth place goes to Cool Cool Borders Plus, Old Kingdom Story, a strategy game with online features, though sales are slightly low. Virtua Fighter 3 TB is sixth, with a unique making-of movie. Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan ranks 7th, the King of Fighters. Dream Match 1999 is 8th. The House of the Dead 2 is 9th. Finally, July rounds out the top 10, still selling steadily since the console's launch. This page details the top 30 most anticipated Dreamcast games, as voted by readers. Shenmue takes the top spot, highlighting its pricing, discount, and a demo release. Grandia 2, focusing on character development, comes in second, followed by Soul Calibur, which boasts full completion and a pre-release tournament. A weekly pickup section covers Mobile Suit Gundam, Gaiden, and Professional Baseball Team Otsukuru, both emphasizing their network features and 100% completion. Another section reviews Professional Baseball Team Otsukuru and its upcoming release, along with a Dream Cup tournament. The ranking table lists the remaining games, including Biohazard Code, Veronica, Virtua On, and many other titles, providing developer/publisher and release date information. Screenshots are included for D no Shokutaku 2 and J-League Pro Soccer Club wo Tsukuru. This page presents 2 rankings. The first is a reader poll of the top 20 games desired for a Dreamcast port, with Sakura Wars topping the list. Other popular choices include Rent a Hero, Dead or Alive 2, and Metal Gear Solid. The second ranking details the top 15 arcade games by income. Virtua Striker 2 version 99 leads the arcade chart, followed by Virtua Fighter 3 TB and Street Fighter 2i Third Strike. Other notable arcade games include Cyber Troopers Virtual On, Tekken Tag Tournament, and The King of Fighters 98. 2. Weekly Pickup features highlights Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Ver. 5.4. A team battle action game, and Tekken Tag Tournament, lauded for its tag battle system. Both games are associated with upcoming summer tournaments. This page outlines the Dreamcast's release schedule, encompassing both software and hardware. Software releases are categorized by month, beginning with August 1999. Early releases include Soul Calibur, Fighting, and Cool Borders Burn, Snowboarding in August, followed by Dancing Blade, Action, and ESPIONAGENTS Shooting in September. October features J-League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru, Simulation, and Shenmue, Chapter 1, Yokosuka, Adventure RPG. Deed. D2, Adventure, was released in November, and Yukyu Gensukyoku 3 Perpetual Blue, RPG, in December. Games planned for 2000 include WWW Soccer, and MSR Racing. Titles with undetermined release dates include Melty Lancer the Animation and Rayman 2. The hardware section lists peripherals like the fishing controller and microphone device, all with undecided release dates. The page also includes a legend-defining genre abbreviations and compatibility symbols. This page is a Dreamcast Magazine Reader's Race Ranking page, issue 28, dated July 30th, showcasing the top 15 Dreamcast games as voted by readers. Sega Rally 2 takes the top spot, followed by Sonic Adventure and The House of the Dead 2 in second and third place respectively. Other highly ranked games include Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, Power Stone, and Street Fighter Alpha 3. New entries to the rankings are World Neverland 2, Old Kingdom Story at 16th place, described as a unique life simulation game that is even better than the PlayStation version, with positive reader comments highlighting its immersive world and emotional depth. Frame Gride also debuts at 24th, a robot action game praised for its customizable mechs, strategic combat, and 3D action, although some found the controls and load times a bit long. The page also briefly discusses how recent new software releases might be shifting the rankings, mentioning upcoming titles like Soul Calibur and other summer releases that are expected to please users and impact future rankings. There's a small section explaining the ranking system, which is based on reader votes and average scores. This page reviews 4 Dreamcast games and features a Dreamcast software ranking chart. Chōshinri Boy Kanban, RPG, received mixed reviews, scoring 5.6678 overall. Street Fighter 03, Fighting, earned high praise, 8.8571, lauded for its gameplay and features. Shutoku Battle, Racing, scored 8.4193, with noted drifting and customization. Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2, Wrestling, was highly rated at 9.1219 for its depth. The page also includes a Dreamcast software ranking table and lists upcoming titles such as Eternal Arcadia, 7th Cross Evolution, and Biohazard Code, Veronica. This page summarizes Dreamcast software and peripherals. Poppin Music and Denpa Shonenteki Kensei Seikatsu Nasubi no Heya are highlighted. Peripheral rankings include rumble packs, various controllers, arcade stick, racing controller, Dreamcast gun, fishing controller, keyboard, and visual memory, each with release details and scores. Reviews include a positive 9.042 score for Poppin Music, praising its arcade gameplay. Buggy Heat receives a 7.33, lauded for its fun gameplay after overcoming initial control challenges. Seita Heiki Expandable earns a 7.0 for its unique Western game feel and high-quality gameplay. Reader comments and contests are featured. The contests involve predicting the rankings of Soul Calibur and Pro Yaku Team Wo Tsukuru, with prizes including peripherals and software. Entries via postcard, including reviews and predictions, are due August 5th. This page reviews 2 games released on August 5th. Soul Calibur, a 3D weapon fighting game, receives unanimous perfect scores, lauded for its superior graphics and gameplay compared to the arcade version. Reviewers highlight its deep content, accessible nature for beginners, and strategic depth for hardcore players, deeming it a must-buy. Professional Baseball Team O Sukuru, a baseball team simulation game, scores an average of 9/10. It improves upon the Sega Saturn version, with refined simulation and updated data. Praised for its addictive team building and player training, the game is considered enjoyable for simulation enthusiasts, though some find the simulation simplified. The page also introduces its reviewers and explains the scoring system used, ranging from "Buy this software" 9 to 10 to "Not very good" 3 to 4. This page presents reviews of the Dreamcast game Soul Calibur by Frozen Plains Blizzard and Kitajima Eri. Frozen Plains Blizzard praises the game's characters, animations, intuitive controls, and deep gameplay, awarding it a high score. Kitajima Eri, despite preferring RPGs, was captivated by Soul Calibur's story, illustrations, and accessible combat, highlighting its user-friendly controls and character realism. Both reviewers recommend the game. The page also introduces two new software titles. Kitahi Photo Memories, a romance adventure game, focuses on graphics and scenarios about long-distance relationships. Dream Passport 2, a communication software, offers improved readability, easier text input, voice guidance, microphone and MIDI support, plus the ability to play videos and music from websites, send save data, and share game data. This page is a review page for Sega Saturn games. It features reviews for two games, with Yu Mitsumete Itai and Street Fighter 03, which is known internationally as Street Fighter Alpha 3. The page lists various reviewers, including female users and guest writers, such as Suzuki Ako, REI, Suge, Akashia Sanma, Ijipan, and Suzuki Kizuko. With Yu Mitsumete Itai, a romance-adventure game from NEC Interchannel, released on July 29th, is given a perfect completion score of 100%, and an average review score of 8.0. The reviewers describe it as being like a drama, where you follow the story from multiple perspectives. It is praised for its well-crafted and flawless execution, described as an honor student of game design. The reviewers suggest it's a great game to enjoy slowly during the summer. Street Fighter 03 from Capcom, slated for release on August 5th, receives a completion score of 100% and an average review score of 7.33. This fighting game requires a 4 MB expansion RAM cartridge. Reviewers highlight the Saturn version's smooth and responsive controls, noting it feels close to the arcade version. They suggest it would have been even better if released sooner, expressing a wish that this level of quality had been available earlier. One reviewer mentions that while well made, the impact might be lessened due to the game already being available on other platforms. This page is a promotional feature for Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, announcing that the game is just 6 days away from its August 5th release. It's a big 30-page special dedicated to the game. The feature is broken down into 4 parts covering game modes and basic controls, a system-perfect guide, a complete character guide for all 10 characters, and a development staff interview. The page also highlights that Soul Calibur is Namco's first title on the Dreamcast, and mentions features such as 3D weapon battles, 12-player mode, VGA support, and Rumble Pack compatibility. The game is priced at 5,800 yen. There's also a note about TV commercials for Soul Calibur airing from July 31st to August 8th in major Japanese cities. The page shows the Japanese box art for Soul Calibur and some in-game screenshots. The Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur allows players to unlock Inferno, the previously unplayable final boss, surpassing even Edgemaster in technique mastery. To play as Inferno, players must first obtain Xianghua's third color palette in Mission Battle Mode. Then, in Arcade Mode, select Xianghua's third color and press Y+A or Y+X, while holding Y and another button to choose Inferno, then clear Arcade Mode. Inferno is a manifestation of Soul Edge, wielding weapons of past battles when its host loses their ego. Screenshots demonstrate Inferno's appearance and fiery effects. The article encourages players to enjoy the Dreamcast version, highlighting its depth and detailed character stories, also providing a list of mid-boss characters for each playable character in arcade mode. This page is focused on the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur. It highlights the game's features, controls, and game modes. The page starts with basic knowledge about the game, explaining how the Visual Memory Unit, or VMU, can be used with Soul Calibur to display character animations. Next, it describes the Dreamcast controller operations for Soul Calibur. It details the functions of the L and R triggers, X, Y, B, and A buttons, as well as the analog stick and directional pad for actions like guarding, horizontal and vertical slashes, kicks, and menu navigation. It also explains command inputs for combinations and special moves. The How to Play section explains the rules and on-screen display elements of Soul Calibur matches. It describes the health gauge, time limit, set count, and character display. It details win conditions such as KO, ring out, time up, and double KO. The Game Modes section introduces 3 main game modes. Arcade mode, which recreates the arcade experience with event scenes and a final boss fight against Inferno. Versus Battle mode, designed for player versus player battles, where player records are tracked. And Team Battle mode, which allows for team battles with up to 8 characters, including CPU opponents. The page emphasizes the volume of content available in the Dreamcast version. Screenshots show in-game action, and menu screens showcasing different game modes. Soul Calibur offers several gameplay modes. Time Attack challenges players to achieve the fastest clear time against the CPU. Survival mode tests endurance with consecutive battles and limited health. Option mode provides customizable game settings, including difficulty and display adjustments. Mission Battle mode involves progressing through stages under specific conditions, earning points to unlock art in Museum mode, which also houses character profiles. Practice mode allows players to hone skills and learn combos. Finally, Internet mode utilizes Dream Passport 2 for online content, suggesting regular updates. Mastering Soul Calibur's basic systems is recommended. The next page is a Soul Calibur system guide, giving a thorough strategy breakdown of the game's mechanics. It focuses on 2 core systems: movement and attacks. The movement system section details the 8 WAYRUN system, highlighting how players can move freely in 8 directions. It explains the difference between movement in a standing stance and utilizing the 8 WAYRUN for more dynamic movement around opponents. The attack system section breaks down the various attack types in Soul Calibur. These include horizontal, vertical, and thrusting attacks. It further categorizes attacks by height, such as high, medium, and low attacks, as well as special medium attacks. The guide also explains guard-breaking attacks and throws. Screenshots are used to illustrate these different attack types and movement options within the game. This page is dedicated to explaining the guard system in Soul Calibur. It's divided into 2 sections: understanding the guard system for a solid defense, and an advanced explanation of guard impact. The first section details basic guarding, highlighting standing guard for mid and high attacks, crouching guard for mid and low attacks, and noting that some attacks are unblockable and must be evaded using jump or 8 WAYRUN. It also explains how to escape throws by inputting a throw escape command during a throw attempt, even while guarding. It provides tables listing throw techniques, basic throw escapes, and strike back techniques. The second section delves into guard impact, which is described as a technique to repel or deflect opponents' attacks. It explains there are 2 types of guard impact: repel and deflect, each with slightly different commands and properties. Repel is described as quick for counterattacks, but with a short advantage window. Deflect is said to take longer, but grants a longer advantage, allowing for more substantial follow-ups. The page further explains guard impact reversal, a counter to guard impact itself, achieved by performing another guard impact in response to an opponent's guard impact. It notes that in the Dreamcast version, guard impact reversal is possible even when facing away from the opponent. Screenshots illustrate the different guard techniques and guard impact actions. This page is about Soul Calibur's gameplay systems, focusing on defense and control after being downed or launched into the air. It details actions to take after being knocked down, including different recovery options like standing up in place, rolling forward or backward, and sidestepping. It also explains how to counterattack while rising. The page further discusses air control, detailing how to perform ukemi, air recovery, after being launched into the air to minimize vulnerability. It explains the inputs for different types of ukemi and how they can be used to control landing and escape further attacks. The page highlights the importance of these defensive techniques in Soul Calibur. This guide details Soul Calibur's mechanics, focusing on soul charge and damage calculation. Soul charge, activated by pressing X plus Y plus B, offers 2 variations: a green aura guaranteeing counter hits, and a yellow aura, activated by pressing A, that breaks guards. Use Soul Charge to pressure opponents and initiate attacks. Damage calculation considers various factors: counter hit type, attack counter, back counter, reversal counter, hit direction, back, side, front, and opponent status, crouching, fake down, leaning back. Each factor has its own damage multiplier. The formula is base damage, X counter correction, X direction correction, X status correction equals actual damage. Finally, the guide emphasizes that hits alter opponent's state. Counter hits and hit direction impact damage and state, potentially leading to advantageous follow-ups. Brainway. For instance, attack counters cause significant float, and side hits can cause a stagger. The next page focuses on the Dreamcast game's Soul Calibur, specifically detailing the character Kilik. It's part of a feature titled All About Soul Calibur. The page highlights Kilik as the first color character and describes him as being skilled in wielding the Kure rod. The page features a character profile for Kilik, explaining his backstory as a monk from the Manji Temple, seeking to control his inner evil. It mentions the weapon Kilik uses, the Enki rod, or purification rod. There are sections dedicated to Kilik's moves, categorized as Tips 1, Kilik's representative techniques, Tips 2, How to use Kilik, and New techniques. Several of Kilik's techniques are listed and briefly described, including Wind Haze, Fuku, Raining Dragon Flash, Tiryusu, Stalking Fang, Saiho, Cascading Wave, Rinko, Illusion Fang, Genyoku, Soaring Wave, Haiko, Gleaming Swallow Flash, Kaietsu Shao, Standard Star, Junsei Shao. A command list for Kilik is presented as a table, showing move names in Japanese, commands, attack levels, and notes. The notes column uses symbols like 1 to 7. The new technique section mentions techniques added in the Dreamcast version, emphasizing that button presses during the standard star move allow for transitions into 8-WAYRUN movement. This page is a character guide focused on Kilik from Soul Calibur. It starts with one-point advice recommending aerial combos, particularly the Ryukeyoku for counter hits. The Tips 2 section details Kilik's basic tactics, emphasizing mid-range combat to utilize his weapon's reach and maintain distance. It advises using moves like Nenryukan and Susei to push back approaching opponents, and using horizontal attacks against those using 8-WAYRUN to close in. For close-range combat, the guide acknowledges Kilik's disadvantage and stresses the importance of anticipating opponents' attacks to counter effectively with moves like Tatiryu and Karuadashi. The page includes a comprehensive move list table categorizing Kilik's techniques with button inputs and attack levels. It also highlights Character Notes .02, which mentions Kilik's second color scheme being yellow and black, inspired by a tiger, and introduces the Pure Training Spot stage set in a stone temple in India. The Winning Pose section suggests that the X button pose is the most impressive. Finally, Player's Voice shares an arcade player's perspective, mentioning that Kilik was initially considered weak in arcades, but became more balanced and viable in close-quarters combat in the Dreamcast version, encouraging players to explore new strategies thanks to improved evasion abilities. The next page is all about Xianghua from Soul Calibur, and is part of a larger 30-page special feature on the game in the magazine. It's titled Light Side Xianghua Cool Breeze Traveler, and gives details about her character profile, mentioning she is a traveler on a journey. It talks about her weapon, the Chinese sword, and its importance. There's a command list showing her moves and button inputs, along with helpful tips and strategies on how to play as Xianghua, pointing out some key moves like Seireka, Daikushi, Kikutsusu, Choyokuritsu, Komu, Shokekyaku, and Suijutsuto, and how to use them effectively in battle. This page is a Soul Calibur character guide focusing on Xianghua. It's part 3 of a character perfect guide. The page is divided into sections including 1 point, Tips .2, Winning Pose, and Player's Voice. The 1 point section focuses on air combos with Xianghua, recommending moves like Rising Sun and Sailing Boat after hitting with Rising Phoenix. Tips .2 is about basic tactics in mid-range combat, emphasizing the importance of understanding when to attack and defend. It discusses how Xianghua's short reach makes mid-range combat challenging, and suggests using feints and observing opponent actions. It recommends using quick moves like Clear Breeze or Soaring Phoenix in close combat to control 8-WAYRUN. The guide advises to close the distance and overwhelm opponents. The Winning Pose section shows Xianghua's victory poses, stating that pressing the Y button will show a cheeky pose, which is described as the most Xianghua-like. Player's Voice talks about how arcade players perceive Xianghua, mentioning that while she has short reach, which is a weakness, her overall strength is improving. It mentions that mastering her might make her the strongest character, and that even on the Dreamcast version, players can easily reach her potential. The page also contains move lists, tables explaining different attacks and button inputs for Xianghua. It mentions impact moves and different attack directions. There is a Character Notes 02 section, which introduces the stage, the Chinese Temple, and describes it as the Imperial Garden of the Ming Dynasty, highlighting its scenic beauty and seasonal changes. This page is dedicated to Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. It's an in-depth character guide detailing his profile, weapon, and move list. The profile section describes Mitsurugi as a swordsman who has lived through battle and uses his blade as his weapon, fighting to master the legendary Soul Edge. The weapons section highlights Mitsurugi's katana, the Shishio, or Lion King. The page then goes into tips and representative techniques, explaining various moves with commands and descriptions. It details moves like Amabayashi, Heavenly Sound Child, Inahogari, Rice Ear Hunting, Fumikake, Treading Bolt, Toji, Prison, Utsurobayashi, Empty Sound Child, Niegasuri, Boiling Haze, and Sunesumuji, Shinsweeper, and Irobor, Color Borrowing. The page emphasizes using a mix of techniques for different situations and distances in combat, highlighting Mitsurugi's versatility in Soul Calibur. The move list table includes move names, commands, attack attributes, and some remarks in Japanese which are gameplay tips. This page is a character guide focused on Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur. It provides in-depth tactics for mastering the character, starting with air combo strategies, listing key moves like Tenkafuzetsu, Kurenai, and Senfu, and follow-up attacks. The guide then moves into basic combat tactics for mid-range engagements, recommending moves such as Totsugeki and Hizatsumuji, and emphasizing adaptability to the opponent's movements using 8, WAYRUN, and NREN for closing distance. For close-range battles, the guide stresses reliable 2-hit damage combos and quick attacks, like Tate Giri and Ryugeki, advising players to initiate with Tenkafuzetsu and incorporate low attacks. It highlights Fukubuse to Senpujin as a useful technique. The page showcases Mitsurugi's second color costume and introduces the Inundated Castle stage, linking its setting to Hideyoshi Toyotomi. The guide also delves into strategic thinking during matches, focusing on judging distance, making targeted attack choices, and anticipating upper-level attacks. It advises on adapting tactics based on the opponent's guard and distance, suggesting long-reach moves for ranged combat and exploiting openings. Example: close-range combos, powerful low attacks, and key moves are presented to maximize damage. Finally, the page features screenshots of Mitsurugi's winning poses and includes a player's voice section with insights from arcade players. They note Mitsurugi's gameplay is similar to the arcade version, praising his consistent potential and highlighting the importance of self-improvement and situational awareness for victory. The page also contains explanatory notes for move properties and commands, using symbols to denote hold inputs, shifts, and attack timings. The next page delves into the character Maxi from Soul Calibur. It introduces him as the pirate from the southern seas and highlights him as the first color character. The page describes his profile, explaining his journey of revenge, his weapon, the nunchaku called Shiranu Yen, and his fighting style. It mentions that Maxi relies on 5 stances and various linked attacks to overwhelm opponents, emphasizing the importance of mastering these techniques. The page then presents a detailed command list, showcasing various moves and techniques for Maxi, categorized by stance and providing button combinations. There are sections detailing representative techniques like Sugi Hazanami, Ranbu Unryu, Uromote Kuga, Oikazumi, and Wake Shirabe, each with a brief explanation of its usage and effectiveness. The page also introduces new techniques for Maxi, including Nami Wakare. This page is a character guide for Maxi in Soul Calibur. It starts with 1 point, explaining how to perform aerial combos with Maxi, suggesting moves like Kaimaku Sori Ryukan, opening Leaping Dragon Root. Tips Point 2 focuses on Maxi's basic tactics, emphasizing mid-range combat, where using moves like Ura Yakuchu, backlit Firefly, to control the opponent is key. It also details close-range tactics using Sawagi Haman, rippling noise, to break guards. The page then highlights winning pose and suggests that Maxi's taunting win pose is cool. Finally, Player's voice shares an arcade player's perspective on Maxi, noting his attacks have become stronger since Soul Calibur 2, and that his stance-based gameplay is interesting. There are also move lists, detailing various attacks, commands, and their properties, but these are tables of data. This page is an introduction to Sophitia from Soul Calibur, a fighter known as the Holy Warrior, who received an oracle from the god Hephaestus. Her profile explains she is on a quest to destroy the evil sword Soul Edge after being injured by its fragments. The page details her weapon of choice, the Omega Sword and Elk Shield, describing them as crafted by her fiancé Rothion. The page provides gameplay tips for Sophitia, emphasizing her strong 8 WAYRUN moves and close-range combat. It highlights specific techniques like Ascent Splash, Sword Shower, Angel Force, Angel Strike, Shield Slap, and Step Grace, with brief explanations of their uses and strengths. A command list table is included, detailing various moves with their commands, attack properties, and notes. The page is aimed at players new to Soul Calibur, providing a guide on how to effectively utilize Sophitia's fighting style. This page is a character guide for Sophitia in Soul Calibur. It's part of a larger all-character perfect guide section. The page provides 1 point and tips 2 sections, focusing on Sophitia's combat tactics, especially her aerial combos and mid-to-close range fighting strategies. It suggests aggressive and relentless attacks are key. The guide highlights specific moves like Angel Force, Twin Step Lace, Quick Strike, Inverse Stream, and Shield Slap for mid-range combat, and Luminous Satellite, Slide Flow, and Underslide Blade for close-range fights. It also mentions using Angel Step to close distance. There are screenshots demonstrating different combat situations and moves. The character notes section describes Sophitia's second color costume and her appearance. The stage section identifies the depicted stage as Corridor to the Sanctuary. The winning pose section, titled Powerful and Clean Image, describes Sophitia's victory poses and their button inputs A, B, X, Y. Finally, player's voice talks about Sophitia in the arcade version, highlighting her unchanged fighting style from Dreamcast, her effective command throws and sword shower moves, and reliable counterattacks with Angel Strike. This page is an ALLABOUT feature focusing on the Dreamcast game Soul Calibur and the character Nightmare. The page is titled Dark Side Nightmare Ancient Evil. The page introduces Nightmare's profile, describing him as a warrior clad in dark blue armor, obsessed with Soul Edge. It mentions that anyone who looks into his red eyes is destined for death. Nightmare wields the Soul Edge, great sword. It also mentions that in one land he was a hero, but now he is a sword of evil, and his true identity is the cursed sword, Soul Edge itself. There are gameplay tips for using Nightmare effectively, focusing on understanding his reach and using it for mid-range combat. The page highlights key moves to learn first to utilize Nightmare's fighting style, including Sky Splitter, Shadow Slicer, Armor Crusher, Dark Middle Kick, and Shoulder Charge. There is a section called Nightmare Command List, which details various moves and their commands, along with their properties such as attack level and notes. The page points out that the commands are for when the character is facing right, and notations are based on the Dreamcast controller. The page also gives tips for using Nightmare, explaining close-range combat and advanced techniques, emphasizing moves like Dark Round Kick and Double Grounder. It stresses the importance of linking moves and using Double Grounder for guaranteed damage, even against guarding opponents. The page is designed to give players an in-depth look at Nightmare and his fighting style in Soul Calibur. This page from a Dreamcast magazine is a character guide for Nightmare in Soul Calibur, focusing on executing air combos. It highlights Sky Splitter as a core move, and details combos initiated from Full Swing Splitter, Dexter Hold, and Base Hold into Grief Catapult. The guide emphasizes mid-range combat as Nightmare's strength, utilizing moves like Shadow Slicer to maintain distance. It also covers close-range tactics and parrying low attacks using Guard Impact. The page showcases Nightmare's second color costume, winning poses, and the stage Ruins of Ostrinsburg Castle. An arcade player's voice section discusses Nightmare's unchanged strength and the satisfying playstyle of wielding his great sword. This page provides a detailed look at Ivy from Soul Calibur. It highlights her profile, weapon, and fighting techniques. Ivy is described as hailing from the Valentine family and being connected to alchemy and the Soul Edge. Her weapon is the Ivy Blade, a flexible snake sword. The page offers gameplay tips on how to use Ivy effectively, emphasizing her strengths in mid to long-range combat and using 8 WAYRUN movements. It details several of her key moves with command inputs, such as Viper Talon, Soul Soother, Mad Silhouette, and Noble Ghost, explaining their properties like range and attack level. There's also a command list section detailing various special moves and their inputs, along with a brief description of their attack type. Screenshots show Ivy performing some of these moves against opponents. The page is essentially a character guide to help players master Ivy in Soul Calibur. This page is a Soul Calibur character guide focusing on Ivy. It provides tips and strategies for playing as Ivy, highlighting aerial combos and close to mid-range combat tactics. The guide breaks down Ivy's gameplay into sections like aerial combos, mid-range combat point, and close-range combat point, offering advice on using moves like Kindred Rant Plea and Enchant Gargariglion for mid-range and Rinsing Sign, and Rinsing Autograph for close-range combat. It features screenshots demonstrating gameplay scenarios and move executions, and includes tables detailing move names, commands, and attack properties. There's also a character notes section showing Ivy's second color costume, and the stage, the Valentine Mansion, along with winning pose examples. The player's voice section expresses appreciation for Ivy's move, Might Atlas, and recommends practicing in practice mode. This page is all about the character Taki in Soul Calibur. It's a character spotlight showcasing Taki and her fighting style, highlighting that she uses twin swords called Mekimaru and Sazamekimaru. The page details her profile, describing her as a ninja tasked with exorcising evil spirits and her connection to the cursed sword Soul Edge. The weapons section explains her swords are her own creations. There's a section called Tips.1 that encourages players to master Taki's techniques to become proficient with her. The page then dives into a command list, providing a breakdown of Taki's moves, including their names, button inputs, and hit properties like high, mid, or low attacks. The screenshots scattered across the page show Taki in action during gameplay, demonstrating some of her moves against other characters. It's essentially a guide to help players understand and use Taki effectively in Soul Calibur. This page is a character guide for Tataki in Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, part of a series of character guides. It highlights essential combos for Taki, focusing on aerial combos using moves like Hane Yari, Shiki Godan, and Sanmaki Enken. The guide provides beginner tips for mastering Taki, emphasizing the importance of closing the distance to the opponent. It recommends using 8 WAYRUN to approach effectively, and employing moves like Tetsuzanko and Retsu for aggressive close combat. For close-range tactics, it suggests utilizing moves like Danzetsu Hold, Rapashiki Gero, and Juji as key techniques. The page showcases Taki's winning poses, emphasizing their dynamic nature and recommending the B-button pose as particularly cool. The Hokoji Temple stage is also featured. There's a section showcasing Taki's second color costume. Finally, in the player's voice section, an arcade player praises Soul Calibur for its deep gameplay and satisfying combo system, recommending the Dreamcast version for players who enjoy aggressive playstyles, and mentioning the unique DC original stage performance as a must-see. The page includes move lists and command inputs for Taki to help players learn her moves. This page is dedicated to Voldo from Soul Calibur, subtitled Guardian of the Netherworld. The article introduces Voldo as a character with a unique and bizarre fighting style, emphasizing his unpredictable movements and powerful techniques. The profile section reveals Voldo's backstory as a loyal servant who guarded treasures, driven by the will of his master, Varichi, even after Varici's death. Voldo's weapon is introduced as Shame and Blame, a pair of katars. The page features a detailed command list showcasing Voldo's moves with input notations and attack properties. Several key techniques are highlighted and described with accompanying screenshots. These include moves like Mute Slash for quick attacks, Gate Openers for mid-range dominance, Mute Low Kick for breaking guards, and Rolling Crazier G, which utilizes his unique rolling motion. Other highlighted moves include Scorpion's Tail, Immortal Virtue, and Ecstasy. Gameplay tips are given to master Voldo's fighting style, focusing on using his back-facing stance and confusing the opponent with his unorthodox and powerful moves. The article encourages players to learn these techniques to effectively use Voldo's unique capabilities in Soul Calibur. This page is a character guide focused on Voldo from Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. It's part of a Perfect Guide series and gives tips on how to use Voldo effectively. The guide is broken down into sections covering basic strategies, mid-range and close-range combat, and how to interrupt enemy attacks. It details Voldo's moves with command inputs and includes screenshots to illustrate gameplay situations. The guide highlights key combo starters and advises players to use Voldo's unique style to confuse opponents. It also shows Voldo's second color option, which is described as having a demonic appearance, and mentions the Money Pit stage. The page also showcases Voldo's winning poses and includes a player's voice section where someone praises Voldo in the Dreamcast version, specifically mentioning a move called Foul Ritual as being interesting and effective despite not being a typical strong attack. This page showcases Astaroth from the Dreamcast fighting game Soul Calibur. The page details Astaroth's profile as a warrior with a mighty body, who is a creation of the god of destruction. It mentions his weapon is the giant axe, Kulto Esu, crafted for Soul Edge search. The page provides a command list for Astaroth's moves, categorized into sections like representative skills, avoid techniques, striking throw, and command throw. It also offers gameplay advice on how to effectively use Astaroth, including his various attacks and techniques like Vimel, Surbelt, El Arclirio, Mukuseza, El Reapers, Malfadia, and Vitorsaurus. Screenshots illustrate Astaroth performing some of these moves in combat. The page is focused on guiding players on how to master Astaroth in Soul Calibur. This page is a character guide for Astaroth in Soul Calibur. It highlights how to execute aerial combos and discusses Astaroth's basic fighting tactics for mid-range encounters, emphasizing the use of his reach with moves like Muzervishia and Mukusurza. The guide advises using El Riahaz for counterattacks and Mukusurza as a follow-up to a two-hit combo. For close-range combat, it recommends using Vimel and throws, focusing on mix-ups and wake-up attacks. The page showcases Astaroth's second color variation, noting its purple skin and wing-like back features, suggesting a more demonic appearance compared to the first color. It also details the stage, the Edge of Chaos, describing it as an underground structure built by the evil god Balgir, filled with molten lava and used for rituals. Finally, there's a section called Winning Pose, showing different victory poses, and a player's voice segment, where arcade players discuss Astaroth's improved performance in the Dreamcast version, particularly mentioning the effectiveness of his moves like Biasuku and Malfadia in securing advantageous situations. The next page is an interview with the staff of Namco about the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur. The interview discusses the development process of the game, starting from the announcement of Namco joining the Dreamcast platform on October 6th. They mentioned the development started in January and took around 303 days to complete. The team talks about the challenges they faced, including the tight schedule and the goal to surpass the arcade version. They also discussed the inclusion of an internet mode in the Dreamcast version, which was under development at the time of the interview, and aimed to add unique online play elements. The interview features comments from Yasushi Shibue, opening director, Kanako Iwasaki, designer, and Tadashi Obama, programmer. This article details an interview with the Soul Calibur development team, showcasing their efforts to leverage the Dreamcast's capabilities. They highlight how the console allowed them to surpass arcade limitations, utilizing approximately 90% of the Dreamcast's processing power. Key features discussed include the revamped one-person performance demonstration mode with improved motion capture, and the focus on creating atmospheric stages built in blocks, incorporating techniques from Soul Edge. The team emphasizes their confidence in the game's high quality and broad appeal. They point out the importance of detailed stages, expressive animations, and the accessible mission battle mode for players of all skill levels. This page is a Namco vs Development Department official page, Volume 6, focusing on a cosplay contest for Soul Calibur. The page announces the cosplay contest and expresses surprise at the high quality and number of entries received. The page highlights 3 cosplayers: ACC Osan from Yokohama, who cosplayed as Xianghua and Kilik, praised for their accurate portrayal of both 1P and 2P costumes and attention to detail. Terasan from Tokyo, noted for a Queen-like cosplay with various photo angles submitted, and Minasan from Tokyo, whose river-setting cosplay impressed with its enthusiasm and powerful character representation. The developers commented on each cosplay, appreciating the effort and detail. The page also includes a section titled, Development Site Live Voice? vs Development Department Character Development Diary, discussing stage creation for the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur. mentioning Mina and Lizardman stages from the arcade version, and new stages for Dreamcast including practice mode stages. Finally, a color illustration etc. Big recruitment section announces ongoing recruitment for color illustrations and cosplay photos with a deadline at the end of August, and excitedly notes that Soul Calibur is only 6 days from release. This page is announcing the August 6th release of Dreamcast Magazine, which will include 2 trial versions of games on GDROM. The first disc features a trial version of Cool Borders Burn, and the second disc includes a trial version of Soul Calibur, which is noted as a first-time experience for Dreamcast Magazine readers. The page emphasizes that the magazine comes with these 2 trial versions. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Professional Baseball Famista Dream, also known as Yakyutsuku in Japan. It announces the game's release date as August 5th, and its price at 5,800 yen. The page highlights it as a sports training simulation that supports communication, keyboard, and VGA box. It also lists the names of Japanese professional baseball teams and announces a tournament for Yakyutsuku to be held. The page is visually filled with cartoon baseball characters. This page promotes a baseball game where players can challenge the world selection team called Universe. The game is intense, as indicated by the title, Overwhelming Strength Time. Can you beat the World Selection Universe? The Universe team arrives by helicopter to challenge the player's team in a 3-game series with a rule where 2 runs ahead wins the game. Screenshots show gameplay, team lineups with player names like Roberts, Glavin, Robinson, Ueda, Takahashi, and in-game scoreboards, emphasizing the exciting baseball action and the challenge of facing a world-class team in what appears to be a simulation-style game. The page encourages players to remember the opposing team's members to gain an advantage. This page is a guide for the Dreamcast version of Pro Yakyu Team Otsukuru, which is known as Yakyutsuku. It highlights the game's team creation and editing features. The guide walks players through the initial steps in the game, from starting, entering a name, selecting a team, meeting the owner, choosing a secretary, deciding on a home base, and finally, team editing. It showcases 8 types of original teams available in the game with unique mascots. 6 female secretaries are presented as partner options who will support the player as the team owner. Each secretary has a profile including name, birthplace, age, birthday, blood type, and hobby. The game features 12 O2 cities as potential home bases, each with parameters like population and economy influencing team management. It also lists the original home bases for existing baseball teams. A key feature in the Dreamcast version is team re-editing, with an 8 billion yen budget. The guide suggests 3 recommended team-building courses offered by the secretaries: Gang Batting, Kichiri Suppression, and Hatsuratsu Youngsters. These courses determine the distribution of players and costs for pitchers, catchers, infielders, and outfielders within the budget, as shown in the tables. It also mentions the ability to bring in promising new players during team editing. For example, the page lists the Baystars, Dragons, Giants, and Swallows as teams and their original home locations. This page is a guide for a baseball game called Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team. It focuses on the February camp section of the game, offering advice on how to proceed. The guide explains the training icons, detailing the different training types for both pitchers and fielders. For pitchers, the training options include stamina, changeup, ball control, and new pitch acquisition. For fielders, the training options are stamina, hitting focus, ball skills, base running/defense, and switch hitting. There is also a coach's recommendation and edit option to customize training menus. The page also explains how to manage players by looking at their plate, which displays player abilities. The plate shows stats for pitching and fielding. Furthermore, the guide mentions fan clubs and TV contracts as important elements in the game. It advises on increasing fan club membership by setting monthly budget within a range, and discusses TV contracts which expire in July and can be renewed based on team performance. The next page is about the Dreamcast Baseball Management Simulation game, detailing the various in-game menus available from March in the game's calendar. The page is broken down into categories. The Personnel section covers managing your team's staff and players, highlighting recruiting foreign players and trades as a quick way to improve the team's strength, and mentions that new rookies will join next season. Trading involves selecting 5 items to offer, and negotiation nuance changes with each trade attempt, with success depending on reading the opponent's intentions. The business section is about managing finances through goods and side businesses to make money. It explains that goods and items development are outsourced, with 3 types of vendors to choose from, allowing you to set prices and durations. Side businesses provide income unrelated to match results. The facilities section focuses on improving the environment by enhancing facilities. It states that improving training efficiency requires facility upgrades, recommending early investment in indoor practice areas and medical rooms to enhance player development and reduce injuries. Lastly, the help icon section explains how to use the help function in the game by pressing the X button on the office screen. It details that help icons provide information on various aspects, such as monthly expenses for personnel, exploration details for personnel, and club member counts and goods completion times for management. This page introduces the baseball simulation game, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team, a title exclusive to Japan. The page acts as a guide, explaining different aspects of team management and player development within the game. It details how players can train their team on the ground and manage various aspects like player roles and team orders. Different types of training are listed, including basic physical training, ball control, and special coach-led training for both pitchers and fielders. The records section covers team performance and data management options, such as viewing schedules, win/loss records, player rankings, and game settings. The guide also explains how to easily progress through games using a suggest option and review detailed match results. Training intensity adjustments for different times of the year are also highlighted. Screenshots of the game menus and gameplay are shown throughout the page to illustrate these features. This page is a special Dreamcast report announcing Shenmue I Chapter Yokosuka as the #1 anticipated Dreamcast title. The game is priced at 6,800 yen and will be distributed from August 5th. A special limited edition Shenmue Jukebox Music CD will be available for the first edition copies from August 5th onwards for pre-orders. There was a Sega press conference on July 12th where details about the game's price and the number of discs, which is 3, were revealed. The conference also showcased a summer experience version of the game called What's Shenmue? The page highlights the experience version called Mode Check 1, where 4 high-end characters explain the game's information. It also features a prologue in the form of a poem, setting the atmosphere and introducing the world of Shenmue. There is also a mention of Shenmue's second episode, tentative. This page reveals the groundbreaking scale of Shenmue, announcing it will be a massive 3-disc GDROM game. It's focusing on the trial version called What's Shenmue, explaining that even this trial is surprisingly packed with content across 3 different modes. The page details several aspects of the game, including the battle system, with protagonist Ryo Hazuki, promising realistic and intense fights. We are introduced to characters like Mark Kimberly, a forklift operator in Yokosuka Harbor, described as friendly despite his tough looks, and Koshu Kinrei, a beautiful woman who explains the game's systems like memos and help functions. A section called Mode Check 2 explains the sound and subtitle settings, highlighting a special child mode. Turning this on simplifies the game's kanji to hiragana and katakana and adds helpful memos and hints, making it accessible even for young children, as intended by Yu Suzuki. Another section, Mode Check 3, focuses on a mission in the trial version where you must search for Yumikawa. This showcases the gameplay where you need to find Yumikawa within a limited time, implying an urgent quest. Finally, the page describes 4 selectable voice and subtitle modes. Shenmue mode, with voices and subtitles appearing when canceling voice. Cinema mode, focusing on cutscenes with no text display. Text mode, with text only and no voices. And game mode, with both text and voices simultaneously, which is the automatic mode in child mode. It ends teasing more detailed information on the next page. This preview focuses on the Shenmue Dreamcast demo. The demo showcases 3 gameplay modes: View Mode, Free Quest, and Chase QTE. View Mode features real-time conversations, exemplified by interacting with Tom at a hot dog stand to learn about finding Ewan. Free Quest involves exploring Dobuita and gathering information from NPCs to locate Yuan, with important details automatically recorded. Finally, Chase QTE activates when Yuan is found, requiring players to use QuickTime events to pursue and capture him. The demo also includes Virtua Fighter move hints, access to the game center with slot machines and darts, and features a color-coded dialogue system. The preview notes the demo's limited availability due to its initial distribution as part of a campaign video, making it a sought-after item for early Dreamcast adopters. Ryo is the protagonist, Tom the hot dog vendor, and Yuan is the target of Ryo's search. The next page provides a preview of the Shenmue trial version. The page highlights several key gameplay elements. Firstly, it introduces Free Quest, which allows players to explore Dobuita Street freely, interacting with people and experiencing weather and time changes. Buildings can be entered, and loading times during scene transitions are mentioned to be reduced in the full game. Secondly, Always Visible Help Screen explains the game's help system, accessible at any time by pressing the Start button. This displays context-sensitive controls and instructions, also providing access to item and money management within the item screen. Navigation features are described as comprehensive. Thirdly, Chase QTE details a chase sequence featuring Tom K. Players must follow Tom and execute QuickTime events, QTEs, by pressing the buttons indicated on screen at the right time to succeed and complete the quest. The QTEs in this trial version are described as battle-oriented and enjoyable. Finally, there's information about the trial version release on August 5th, mentioning that it was playable at editorial departments. The trial version includes time limits, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. in-game time, and features story elements and atmospheric stage setting. The trial version disc is noted to be thick. It also mentions that the full game will be on 3 GDROM discs and cost 6,800 yen. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Sentimental Graffiti 2, a romance adventure title. The game is being developed by NEC Interchannel and was slated for release on January 27, 2000. The text highlights the game's premise, focusing on the main heroine, Yoongi, who is described as sensitive and independent. She often travels alone and treasures letters sent to her by him, someone who understands her. The text hints at a story where the player will communicate with you through letters while she is in bed, and that a gentle smile will emerge on her face. The page features screenshots of the game, showcasing the characters, including Yoon in different settings, like in bed and outdoors. The text also mentions that the previous game focused on the protagonist's death, and this sequel is taking a different approach, with a brighter tone. The preview aims to introduce the heroines through opening movie-like images, wishing for the player to see their smiling faces. This page from Sentimental Graffiti 2 magazine features 2 character scenarios. The top part, Case of Asuka, discusses choosing an outfit for a date with him. Asuka is portrayed as fashion-conscious and always up-to-date with trends. The scenario talks about her being indecisive about which of 2 dresses to wear to avoid being late for her date. The bottom part, Case of Wakana, focuses on her receiving a letter. It describes Wakana as someone who enjoys visiting shrines and temples and has a traditional Japanese sensibility. The text mentions her reading the letter in bed and reminiscing about her childhood friend, who is referred to as him, who took her on adventures. The content seems to highlight different romantic situations within the context of these characters, likely from the game Sentimental Graffiti 2. This page is about the upcoming Dreamcast game Sentimental Graffiti 2, a sequel that shifts from a love simulation to a love adventure. It reveals a significant plot point. The protagonist from the previous game has passed away, leaving lasting emotional scars on the 12 heroines. The game focuses on how these girls are coping and moving on with their lives after high school, each taking different paths. The page details the future paths for each of the heroines, listing their professions after graduation. For instance, Honoka Sawada is a medical student, Ayako Yasutani is helping at home, and Emi Nagakura is a magazine journalist. There is also mention of unexpected career choices, like Wakana Ayasaki becoming a nursing student, and the ambiguity surrounding Mana Sugihara's path, hinting at a possible key role in the story. The article also teases the meeting between these heroines and the new protagonist in Sentimental Graffiti 2, who is a university student in Tokyo, working with the photography club and looking for models for a school festival poster. This setup will bring the protagonist and the heroines together again, exploring what this reunion will mean for everyone involved, considering their past and the emotional weight of the previous game's events. Voice actresses from Sentimental Graffiti 2 shared insights into their characters' development. Mariko Suzuki, Honoka, noted Honoka's shift from fear to seriousness following the protagonist's death, hinting at closer relationships with other heroines. Hiromi Kono, Rurika, discussed Rurika's evolving emotional state, suggesting a deeper, less obvious impact from the previous game. Yuki Makishima, Miyuki, highlighted Miyuki's increased strength and ability to express herself, though still fragile. Eriko Nagashima, Emiru, observed Emiru's maturation, reflecting her new role as a working adult, with changes in language and appearance. The actresses expressed hopes for fans to witness their characters' growth and changing relationships in the sequel. This page showcases a preview for the Dreamcast game D2, known internationally as D2. The article introduces basic monsters and usable weapons within the game. It details 3 monster types. Human type B, which is a previously revealed version with improved speed and powerful attacks featuring a notable right arm and tentacle. Then there is the 4-foot type, an updated design from the initial concept, described as the fastest ground-moving enemy and the most drastically altered from its human form. Lastly, human type A, a type revealed at the same time as the 4-foot type, emphasizes speed over attack power compared to Type B, and features a significantly large right arm claw. The preview also mentions there are 5 types of weapons available in D2, and strategically using these weapons effectively is important for combat. It highlights the game's battle system, where up to 3 enemies can appear simultaneously in fields and dungeons, requiring players to switch viewpoints during battles. A key gameplay tip revealed is that all monsters, including bosses, possess weak points that players should exploit to gain an advantage in combat. The article concludes by stating, D2 is an action RPG, scheduled for release on November 18th, priced at 6,800 yen, and will be on 4 GDROM discs, supporting VM and communication features. At the time of this preview, the game's development was 70% complete. This page is from D's Dinner Table 2, known internationally as D2. It details gameplay mechanics and enemy strategies in this horror title. The page explains the player's health gauge, noting that it's displayed at the bottom center of the screen and represented by a flame icon with numerical values. The flame color indicates danger levels, shifting from red when healthy to green when critically low, which is the opposite of typical conventions, but highlights the truly dangerous situations in the game. The page then introduces several enemy types with tips for dealing with them. Minor type enemies are described as human-like and wielding hammers, with a long reach, posing a threat in narrow areas. Bird-type enemies are fast aerial attackers that strike from above and are encountered in outdoor areas and during cutscenes. Finally, one-eyed type enemies are described as often being submerged in snow, revealing themselves when attacking, requiring careful timing to counter. Weapon options are also highlighted, including the submachine gun as a basic starting weapon with unlimited ammo but slow reload, a stronger submachine gun variant, a shotgun effective at close range, grenades for area effect damage with limited ammo, and a laser scope gun with automatic aiming but limited ammo and single or burst fire modes. This page announces the Dreamcast game Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 0079 Rise from the Ashes, with the exciting news that the communication function is finally confirmed. It's set to be released on August 26th for 6,800 yen. And is a single-player 3D shooting game that supports online communication. The game is set in the place where the colony fell, specifically Australia, and is the first report from the White Dingo team. The article highlights the power of the next-generation main mobile suit, even in the Australian theater. Screenshots depict in-game action, cockpit views, and briefing screens, featuring mobile suits like the MS-09 Dom, described as a next-generation main mobile suit enabling high-speed movement using heatjet and chemical fuels, and the MSM-03 GOG, an early mass-produced amphibious mobile suit specializing in Kyoktujun, close combat/grappling combat. This page is a preview for Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 0079 Rise from the Ashes. The article highlights the game's Earth invasion operation setting and the visual representation of large-scale mobile suits and soldiers. It introduces the White Dingo Report series, which seems to be in-game updates. Report 2 focuses on the new RX-77D gun cannon mass production type mobile suit, emphasizing its firepower and role as a support unit. Report 3 details the communication features, including downloadable content like beam spray guns and generators available in September, a Photo A item in mid-September, and a prototype beam rifle at the end of September. It also mentions a ranking system where players can compete nationally based on scores, and a BBS feature for user interaction and information exchange regarding Gundam, including hobby-related news. The next page is a preview for Mission 5 of Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden, Colony of Lost War, set in the Adelaide City Reef area on December 23, UC0079. This mission, titled Unexpected Souvenir, tasks players with navigating a city environment filled with obstacles and waterways. The player will encounter enemy amphibious mobile suits, specifically multiple units, emerging from Xeon Yukon-class submarines. These enemies are described as formidable, equipped with iron nails for close combat and beam cannons for ranged attacks. The Xeon Yukon-class submarine itself is detailed as a modified Federation submarine capable of carrying up to 3 mobile suits. The preview emphasizes the need for teamwork and a swift resolution to the battle. This page is about Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden, Colony in Dropped Earth. It focuses on Mission 6, Pursuit of Astalos, set in the Broken Hill suburbs on December 25, UC0079. The mission briefing details the pursuit of Astalos, a biological weapon. The page explains the team battle aspect of the game, emphasizing cooperation and targeting specific enemies. Another section highlights target capture, land battleship Gallop, discussing the challenge of engaging the large Gallop land battleship in bad weather, emphasizing target acquisition and strategic combat. Screenshots show in-game cockpit views and combat scenarios in a desert environment. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Seaman. It introduces the game as the Forbidden Pet Seaman Gazebo Doctor's Laboratory. The page is presented as a special news report with 100% completion rate. The page is divided into sections explaining different aspects of gameplay. Prologue. What you can do with the hand icon explains that the hand icon is fundamental to controlling Seaman, allowing players to interact with the aquarium, give food, and communicate. It emphasizes the freedom of interaction. Scene 1. Well then, let's start the game. Introduces the start of the game, mentioning the unique C voice by Mr. Tomoyuki Kawakita, who also plays the role of assistant. It says the game offers detailed tutorials and explanations at the beginning. Scene 2. Wait a minute. Egg throwing. Before that, guides players to set up the aquarium environment before introducing the Seaman egg. It details adjusting the water temperature and air supply in the tank using the directional pad, aiming for blue text indicators, and suggests ideal ranges of 1,520 degrees Celsius for water temperature and 8,090% for air supply. It stresses the importance of creating a suitable environment for Seaman. The page also shows various screenshots illustrating these points, including gameplay interfaces, Seaman's reactions, and tank environment settings. It features speech bubbles with Japanese phrases from the game and instructions on how to interact with the game. The next page is a guide for the game Seaman. It details different stages of gameplay, starting with Scene 3, which is about initiating the breeding experiment and introducing the Seaman egg into the tank. Scene 4 covers the birth of the larva, called a mushroomer, due to its resemblance to a mushroom. Scene 5 explains how to interact with the mushroomer by tapping the water tank with your finger. Scene 6 highlights a surprising event where a nautilus appears and wriggles. Scene 7 then discusses the birth of the Gilman stage of the Seaman. The page concludes with a section titled, Check It!, explaining how to test Seaman's voice recognition using the Dreamcast microphone, emphasizing the importance of voice communication in the game. This page is an advertisement for a media creator school called YAG, targeting aspiring game creators. It promotes various courses like graphic design, game design, character design, scenario writing, sound direction, motion design, digital video expertise, and multimedia creation, aiming to train creators for the 21st century. The school is holding a Summer Free School 99 and a new game presentation and YAG event on August 25th. Attendees of the event will receive a Windows version CD-ROM as a present. The courses cover topics like CG creation, video editing, and sound editing. This fan submission section, Guru Powers, features art from a Kyoto artist. Dream Plaza submissions discuss Dreamcast game preferences, with one reader enjoying disc art and another expressing love for Star Wars and Shining Force. What's Seaman focuses on the Dreamcast game character, including an image and text about his personality, encouraging players to understand him. Shock presents a beauty transformation story involving the Dreamcast, mentioning Shenmue as a separate topic. Lastly, the Uzuzumaki family introduces the siblings, a dreamy sister and a surprisingly romantic brother, along with their cat, Pubu, a dream cat that enjoys games and runs the Cat Listening Corner. The next page is the Uzumaki Corner, featuring reader submissions. In the Series A section, a reader from Tokyo comments on the J-League Pro Soccer Club wo Tsukuru game, finding it interesting, and asks for Series A Pro Soccer Club wo Tsukuru for Dreamcast. They want Sega to make it and suggest it will be more exciting than J-League, mentioning players like Nakata, Ronaldo, and Batistuta. The Dream Software section from a reader in Osaka talks about the Dreamcast software shortage and expresses hope for more varied games, mentioning genres like racing. They suggest lowering the Dreamcast price to 19,900 yen to make it more affordable for children, wanting games that appeal to kids, not just hardcore otaku gamers. The Dream Meeting section, from a reader in Kanagawa Prefecture, desires games like a character-raising game based on the Namuki manga series, and a Story of Seasons-style farming simulation game for Dreamcast, with online features like exchanging livestock and crops. They also want Magic the Gathering on Dreamcast. The page features fan art submissions for games. There is fan art for Space Pirate Captain Harlock, Shining Force 2i, The King of Fighters, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Maryland, Rent a Hero, and a robot character related to Gosaurus. The Illustration Garden section announces the theme for submissions is Autumn of Appetite, Physical Strength, and Literature, and suggests submission topics such as dream meeting, game ideas, boasting about pets, praising your own pet, or praising your sister. This user submission page showcases Dreamcast game enthusiasm. Readers express desires for new titles, including an online multiplayer game with Sega and Hobby Japan, and a sequel to Slayers Royal 2. Screenshots highlight Virtua Striker 2, prompting a Dreamcast release request, and Ogre Battle, with a user hoping for a Dreamcast installment, likely referencing Ogre Battle 64. Psychic Force 2012 also receives praise. The page includes user-submitted drawings and a Wanisen no Himitsubako section discussing summer topics. Other comments cover various subjects, including a user's youthful appearance and family dynamics. The page concludes with a summer-themed message and invitation for submissions. This page features fan-submitted comics and illustrations. Guru Guru Comic showcases humorous comics with flexible themes and panel counts. Famous People's Corner displays fan art from various Japanese prefectures, centered around games and pop culture. Examples include comics featuring Sonic characters, Chow Garden creatures, and original characters inspired by games or a futuristic style. The page also provides submission guidelines. These stipulate the use of postcards or white paper with black ink for text submissions, with an emphasis on legibility. Guidelines also include instructions for providing addresses and names with the submissions. Color illustrations are not currently accepted. This page is an advertisement for the Giant Graham All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan Perfect Guide. This strategy guide is designed to help players master the game, featuring detailed explanations of the game system perfect for beginners. It includes a roster of all 15 wrestlers, complete with their move lists, command inputs and combos, and an extensive pro wrestling technique encyclopedia. The guide also delves into the Tiger's Den wrestler training mode, promising to turn readers into legendary trainers. A special highlight is an interview with the Triple Crown champion, Mitsuharu Misawa. The guide includes cheat data and a sealed section with a special secret. This a 5-sized guide is 128 pages and is currently available for 1,200 yen plus tax. This page is a humorous column titled Weekly Dreamcast Bad News Bulletin, and Slightly Lewd Game Otaku Gets Popular with Women, Becomes a Doting Father. The page features a manga strip and a personal essay by a writer, Mr. Nomura, about his experiences becoming a father. He humorously recounts his initial anxiety during his wife's pregnancy, which later subsided as the pregnancy progressed smoothly. An ironic situation arises when he is asked to participate in a saucy video during this time, causing him internal conflict and reflection. He mentions visiting manga artist Reijiro Kato while on location for filming. The essay concludes with the birth of his child 3 days later. The lower section, titled, But I'm Already a Parent Fool, includes an illustration of a couple with a baby and discusses choosing a name for their child, noting the child's resemblance to his wife. The overall tone is lighthearted and anecdotal, focusing on the writer's personal and comedic experience of becoming a father, set against the backdrop of his profession. No games are mentioned on this page. This page features articles about different aspects of gaming. There's news about Sega family figures appearing at Wonder Festival, where only 10 sets are available for 1,000 yen each. There's an article titled Touched by Get Bass and Went to Lake Kawaguchi, which talks about the Dreamcast fishing game, Sega Bass Fishing, categorizing bass fishermen into types A, B, C, and D. It humorously compares the game to attracting girls. Another article, Akihabara Game Anzuroroji Volume 16, discusses the common experience of buying a game that turns out to be disappointing, suggesting that even bad games should have their boxes displayed. Lastly, GameShop Backside of Backside. Buying well is knowing yourself offers a perspective from a GameShop employee on making smart game purchases, emphasizing customer satisfaction and informed decisions. The next page is a manga comic strip titled Summing Yoshimatsu Theater. This strip seems to be about the author's love for pro wrestling and video games. It starts with Yoshimatsu being excited about interviewing wrestler Tobita from Saitama Arena, highlighting his deep immersion in wrestling. The comic then humorously portrays a conversation about fighting games, with a character stating that anyone who played fighting games on the Sega Saturn is a fighting game cyborg. The characters are shown watching entrance scenes from a PlayStation wrestling game, marveling at the crowded stadium. The scene escalates into chaotic humor, with mentions of huge crowds, getting choked by cables, and someone trying to use a Neo Geo Pocket with an action replay as a cheat device against the PlayStation game, which is deemed unfair and ineffective. The comic concludes in a Showa-era wrestling-style ending, humorously cut short by broadcasting time, suggesting a playful take on console rivalries and wrestling game absurdity. This page is an advertisement for the Black/Matrix Anthology Comic Volume 2, part of the SB Comics game series. It features an illustration of characters from the Black/Matrix game, and a list of contributors including Masami Shinohara, Takumi Kiryu, Yukiko Fuyumori, Kuniko Saito, Yumi Ito, Ryo Izumi, Tomoyori Kujo, Fuyuki Mizuhara, Furi Misagi, Gunjo, Yamato Aoki, and Miyoko Satomi. The anthology comic is a 5-size, 162 pages, and priced at 850 yen plus tax, and is currently on sale. It also mentions other anthology comics in the SB Comics game series, such as Double Cast Anthology Comic and Embrace the Season Anthology Comic, with more new releases planned. Last Resort, a Mobile Suit Gundam. The 08 THMS Team OVA, released on July 25th, follows Kiki and Mikkel in their search for Shiro and Aina after the one-year war. They navigate the post-war landscape, encountering remnants of both Earth Federation and Zeon forces. Kiki, a guerrilla leader's daughter, and Mikkel, a former soldier, discover a Kamsai wreckage and find files hinting at Dr. Flanagan's involvement. While Mikkel guards the site, Kiki investigates and meets children in Zeon uniforms. The OVA includes episodes 9 and 10 as bonus content, and features a Gelgoog and a new Musai-class ship. The release date is set in UC0080. The page also promotes the upcoming Celestial God Angel Links anime and offers a mug giveaway. The next page is showcasing a collection of anime and tokusatsu video releases. Featured are various titles like Trigun Stage 13, which is the final volume of the series, Neoranga Volume 7, and Gasaraki Volume 7. Also mentioned is His and Her Circumstances Term 5, and Galaxy Drifter Vifam 13, the final volume of that series as well. On the page is also Melt Lancer The Animation Code 002, and Mysterious Steam Detective Corps Case Point 5. Vampires Volume 1 is highlighted along with Voice Slugger Volume 4. All these video releases are on VHS and Laserdisc, with some mentioning DVD availability. The page also includes broadcast information for the anime Android Anamaiko 2010 on Kids Station, and Martian successor Nadesico, airing on ATX, highlighting its popularity from its original broadcast on TV Tokyo and theatrical release. This page is Bamboo Spring's irregular column, titled A Certain Day's TVCM, which seems to be discussing TV commercials related to games and other products. The column starts by mentioning a past game by an author that was released with a telephone card included. There's talk about NEC, PCFX, and telephone cards, with a joke about costing 10,000 yen. The column also touches upon NEC's internet shops and game software, and makes a reference to Hot Spring Illustrations. The author recalls watching Star Wars and receiving various opinions, finding it very interesting. They then discuss recent TV commercials, mentioning that Cola and McDonald's commercials used to be disliked, but now they are more common. They also mention being interested in Pio Quio Quick and Pokemon Curry, potentially referring to commercials for these items. The author, Bamboo Spring, identifies as a manga artist and mentions their current projects are Neko Manga's book and a PC Magazine supplement, which are nearing completion. This page is titled Omi in Wonderland and appears to be a personal feature column. It starts with a summer greeting and introduces mysterious world stories. The column discusses summer memories and pets, specifically dogs and cats. The author mentions several pet names: Hape, Purin, Kanta, Mimi, Ai, and Jiro. There's a story about a cat entering the house and eating the dog Ai's food. Omi's information section details radio program Minami Omi's Sensei no Ojikan, airing on Sundays, and a CD release of the program's second installment titled Minami Omi's Sensei no Ojikan 2 Jikan Mi. It also mentions a live event called Moo 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 Land Volume 3. Purin's Summer Mini Diary Hape's Turn is presented as a diary entry from a character named Hape, talking about summer plans. Omi's Illustration Room showcases a hand-drawn illustration and text discussing birthday gifts and gratitude to fans and staff, mentioning Ottawa office. Finally, there's a Letters and Questions Welcome section inviting readers to send in postcards with questions, opinions, game-related topics, and character discussions to the provided address, care of Omi in Wonderland. This page is a column by Fumio Kurokawa titled Black or Buffalo 66. Kurokawa reviews the film Buffalo 66, directed by and starring Vincent Gallo, noting Gallo's multi-talented nature as director, writer, actor, and musician. He mentions that the movie is currently playing in theaters and reflects on its unique cinematic style, comparing it to early David Lynch films and highlighting its outside of Hollywood feel. He also discusses the cast, including Christina Ricci, known for her role in The Addams Family, and Angelica Houston. Kurokawa suggests this movie might be a worthwhile watch for game fans as something different. The page also includes a profile of Kurokawa, stating he was born in 1960 and has a background in music and film industries before joining Sega AM2 to work on promotions for the VF series, likely Virtua Fighter. He is now involved in video distribution and game distribution, mentioning a price of 1,999 yen, presumably related to these ventures. The page concludes with contact details for readers to send opinions to Kurokawa via Dreamcast Magazine. The next page presents an interview for the USA version of Lunar 2, Eternal Blue. It discusses how music transcends language barriers and connects with a global audience, even for games. The interviewee, Mr. Kojima, talks about his experience with US users enjoying the music of Lunar 2. The page also features a section introducing musical equipment, this week highlighting the Roland S330 sampler, describing it as an older but still beloved piece of equipment used in music production, with memories of early sampling technology and its use. The page also includes a profile of a game music composer who worked on titles such as Grandia, the Lunar series, Langrisser series, and even music for Tokyo Disneyland. Finally, there is an information section with details about Dreamcast-related content, and a small section called This Week's Recommended Snap, showing a music stand used for keyboard music at home. This document provides instructions for completing a questionnaire postcard included with a magazine, covering topics like reader demographics and opinions on the magazine's cover. It includes a hardware list, Table 2, featuring consoles such as the Dreamcast, Super Famicom, and PlayStation, along with accessories. Table 3 lists numerous Dreamcast software titles across various genres, with many games likely unreleased outside of Japan, alongside some international releases. Table 1 details the articles within this issue, including news, reviews, and features related to Dreamcast and other gaming platforms like Sega Saturn, along with articles about several other Japanese media and culture topics. This page is an advertisement for the official guidebook for the Dreamcast game, Frame Guide. The advert promotes the guide as the ultimate resource, packed with complete part data, strategy guides, and insights from the development team. It is described as an A5 size, 144-page, full-color book, priced at 1,300 yen, and currently available for purchase. The advertisement emphasizes, it is the definitive guide that players should get their hands on. The next page is showcasing Web TV for Dreamcast, highlighting its features. It promotes the ability to easily use email, send and receive images and sounds, and allows up to 6 people to use the same address. You can also exchange favorite homepages and make phone calls using Web TV on Dreamcast. The page also mentions special Web TV content, jukebox functionality, game features, and chat capabilities. This page is an advertisement for Web TV, highlighting it as a service that makes email and internet access easy. It promotes the Web TV connection kit, which is offered for free. The ad emphasizes features like simple operation, email for up to 6 people, and the ability to send emails with images and sounds. There's also a Web TV de Bingo campaign, where users can win JAL gift cards and Web TV original goods by playing a bingo game on the Web TV homepage using a bingo card included in the connection kit. The prizes include JAL gift cards worth 10,000 yen for 50 people, email address stamps, and Web TV original goods for 5,000 people each. The campaign deadline is the end of August. This page is dedicated to Cool Borders Burn for the Dreamcast. The article highlights the game's versus mode and details the different ways to play against friends. The game offers orthodox gameplay methods like time attack and total score, where players compete for the best time or overall points. There's also a focus on trick and technique scoring. The page mentions the screen can be split vertically or horizontally for better viewing in multiplayer, allowing players to see the course and tricks clearly. The game features 3 rule sets to choose from, focusing on time, trick points, or total score, which is a combination of both. Cool Borders Burn is also confirmed to be compatible with Dream Passport 2, enabling online functionality. Players can download original snowboards and course data, opening up new designs and performance options. It also hints at future online competitions and replay data uploads using Dream Passport 2. The game is described as a sports game and was scheduled for release on August 26th, priced at 5,800 yen. It is compatible with the Rumble Pack and supports online play. This page introduces new modes in Cool Borders Burn for the Dreamcast, called Line Versus and Trick Boost. Line Versus mode splits the screen vertically, and players compete by performing tricks to push the dividing line towards their opponent's side. The better the trick, the more the line moves. Trick Boost mode focuses on scoring points by performing tricks within designated trick areas on the course. Boost is also a key element, allowing for speed boosts during the race, but it consumes points, adding a strategic layer to its use. The page also highlights a campaign where players can win original Cool Borders boards and QUO cards. This page highlights the Dreamcast game Espionage, a spy action title where players take on the role of a boss managing agents. This preview focuses on mission number 3, titled Kuron 2. The mission briefing introduces the concept of players issuing orders to their agents, Saunders, Lin, Mill, and Archangel. This mission appears more challenging than previous ones, requiring strategic member deployment in dangerous situations. The first scene depicts a scenario where the agents have arrived at the location, noticing multiple sensors and sirens. The objective is to disarm these sirens. One screenshot shows an agent discovering a siren, and as they approach it, the floor collapses. The second scene introduces the target, the Kuron 2 branch chief from the terrorist group AURA. The objective is to capture this individual alive. Another screenshot shows an agent spotting the target in a narrow passage and initiating pursuit. The game is 90% complete and scheduled for release on September 23rd, priced at 5,800 yen. It's categorized as a simulation game. A message from the developers mentions that players might have seen a movie on a previous GDROM and emphasizes the challenging missions awaiting players, stating that the final adjustments are underway and that it will be available to boss candidates soon. This page is focused on the Dreamcast game Espionage NTS. It presents a preview of the game, highlighting mission objectives and gameplay mechanics across different scenes. The main mission objective is revealed as dealing with a terrorist group, emphasizing the need to pursue a target and not be discouraged by traps. Third scene details navigating a 3-story building structure, facing enemies referred to as Sanders, while searching for something. Fourth scene introduces the character Urashimil, who discovers the target's footprints and hidden passages, leading to a pursuit of a character named Han. Fifth scene shows explosions causing path obstructions, requiring careful progress. The Check It skill section describes 2 key skills: Evasion, useful for avoiding falling debris and traps, and Explosive, a skill specialized for Urashimil, used to create passages by detonating explosives and dropping iron bars from the second floor to the first floor. The Mechanism section further explains the explosive skill, showing how to use explosives on the second floor to clear a path on the first floor below, using falling iron grates. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Maboroshi Tsukiyo, which translates to Phantom Moon Knight. It is an adventure game with simulation elements, focusing on a moving story. The game is listed as 89% complete and scheduled for release on September 23rd, priced at 5,800 yen. It supports the Rumble Pack, visual memory, and VGA output. The page introduces 4 characters in advance of the game's release and focuses on Asagiri Minami, a girl who is trying to help Ayame before she disappears. The story is set up to be about Minami's efforts and the changing relationship dynamics as she tries to grant Ayame's wish. The text describes how Minami uses Ayame's ability to transfer her spirit into others to try and resolve Ayame's problems, leading to various situations and character interactions within a short summer period. The preview hints at emotional depth and complex relationships, particularly between Minami and the protagonist, and suggests that the player will see how they become involved in Ayame's fate. Maboroshi Tsukiyo was a Japanly release for the Dreamcast. This page in Dreamcast Magazine focuses on 2 visual novel-style adventure games. The first section is about Narumi Ryo, covering events up to August 1st. It describes Ryo and the protagonist, and their relationship as they navigate events around a school play. The story involves getting tickets to see Christina's public performance at a summer festival, which is creating pressure for Ryo. Screenshots show scenes from the game, including characters in swimsuits by a pool and wearing yukata at a festival. The second section introduces Sakagami Hazuki, detailing events up to July 25th. Hazuki is described as having a weakness for occult matters, and starts visiting the protagonist's home under the guise of spiritual training. Another character, Misuzu, becomes interested in the occult after being saved by Ayame's spiritual power. Screenshots show Hazuki and Misuzu in various scenes, hinting at a story involving occult themes and mysteries. This page introduces a new type of falling object puzzle game called Brazils for the Dreamcast. Developed by TAKUYO and slated for release on October 7th, it's described as a competitive action puzzle game. The core gameplay involves clearing falling balls by aligning 3 of the same color vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. However, the game has additional unique elements beyond just this basic mechanic. The page highlights the 2 main characters, Teo and Kanan. The prologue section sets up the story, where Teo, while searching for his friend Kanan, meets a person named Gero, who is researching a powerful orb called Gravi. The game features special moves that can be used to make a comeback and change the game's flow. The screenshots showcase the in-game action, displaying gameplay with characters and score information. It mentions that color changes play a significant role, adding depth to the gameplay, and chaining combos are key to victory. The game promises intense battles between players by utilizing these special moves and strategic gameplay. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Perpetual Blue, known in Japan as Yukyu Gensukyoku 3, Perpetual Blue. It highlights 2 new systems in the game, ever-active communication and emotional response. The ever-active communication system emphasizes real-time interaction with characters, where time flows dynamically and character reactions change based on time and player actions. The emotional response system focuses on nuanced character emotions, where players must consider the feelings of others when communicating. Screenshots show gameplay and character interactions, demonstrating the communication system. The page also introduces several characters, including Taya's Dialect, Zephyr Boldy, Melfi, Nav, Lise Artakis, and Shiel Artakis, providing brief descriptions for each. The game is described as a training simulation and was slated for release on December 9, 1999, priced at 6,800 yen. This page details 2 games coming to the Dreamcast. First is WWW Soccer, a soccer simulation game that is 40% complete. It focuses on building your own team and competing in an online virtual league against other players. You can download team data, play matches, and update your team's stats based on results. The game allows you to train players, make tactical decisions, and aim for higher leagues. The page highlights team customization, including uniforms and emblems, and shows screenshots of gameplay and menu screens. The second game featured is Dancing Blade, Kate ni Momotenshi, which is marked as 100% complete and ready for release on September 2nd. This is described as an interactive anime title, a complete edition for the Dreamcast, that includes new anime animations. The game is about Momotenshi, a character who transforms into a powerful warrior when in danger. It is based on the anime series and promises around 65 minutes of animation, including additions from the PlayStation version. The page mentions a sequel is also planned. Dancing Blade, Kate ni Momotenshi, 2 Tears of Eden Complete Edition. Screenshots show character artwork and anime scenes. This page is the contents page of a Dreamcast game strategy guide. It lists the sections included in this guide. The games highlighted are Frame Guide, Air Force Delta known as Deadly Skies in Europe, Marionette Handler, The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999, the Japan-only release Akihabara Denu Gumi, Pata Pies, and Elemental Gimmick Gear also known as EGG. The next page is a guide for the Dreamcast game Frame Guide. It's a parameter guide for 32 types of Scudias, which are mecha units in the game. The page details different Scudia types with categories like movement, mobility, operational life, destructive resistance life, required LF, cost, attack method, and combination. It showcases several Scudias with elemental attributes like fire, water, earth and wind, including Vilcus, fire, Varos, water, Enceladus, earth, Enminia, wind, Ankli, wind, Iol, water, Dolgan, earth, Dolro, fire, Hamlinica, fire, Halesnia, water, High Tori, wind, and High Lent, earth. Each Scudia entry includes a small image and details about its movement type, mobility, life stats, required energy, cost, attack style, and material combination for creation. The page explains the meaning of these parameters. For example, operational life determines how long a Scudia can be active, and destructive resistance life indicates how much damage it can take before being destroyed. It highlights that choosing a Scudia should consider not just parameters, but also its behavior and tactical implications, giving an example about using Holly Ray equipment. This page is a strategy guide for a Dreamcast game, detailing various units or characters. It appears to be for a combat strategy game where you control different mechs or robots. Each unit is categorized by element like fire, water, wind, and earth, and has stats listed such as movement type, power, health, defense, LF, cost, attack methods, and combination items. For example, Melcoat, fire, attacks by jumping and using high-speed bullets, while Bolt Knight, water, uses water bullets and dive attacks. Other units mentioned include Mechiaril, water, Meshunos, wind, Merlink, earth, Elkris, fire, Larlgaha, fire, Cupikurusu, water, Gistobald, wind, Gabimorel, earth, Kulver, fire, Umdiris, water, Milnarch, wind, Risugil, earth, Amgarl, earth, Rishunisk, wind, Larlray, wind, and Gistarel, fire. The guide provides action patterns for each unit, describing their combat strategies and behaviors. It gives players information on unit strengths, attack types, and combination items to aid in gameplay. This page is a strategy guide focused on attack patterns and boss battles in a Dreamcast action game, likely for combat against computer-controlled opponents. The page highlights attack patterns, Gun Edition, and how enemy attributes change these patterns, providing tables showing variations for enemy types like Schiavorna and Falcon Arrow. It then moves to Practical Strategy, against battle, specifically for the 7th of the 9 Nights. A stage progression is outlined, starting from the Desert of Death and ending at the Sky Palace. The guide profiles a character named Udolpho, the 7th of the 9 Nights, emphasizing his wind attribute. It details his action patterns, noting his proficiency in mid to long-range gun battles, but also his willingness to engage in close combat. Strategy tips suggest reading his movements, focusing on powerful attacks, and using cover in the map location Forgotten Shrine, described as narrow with many obstacles. This strategy guide details how to defeat 2 bosses in Techromancer, Valentine and Racine. Valentine, a wind attribute warrior, favors aggressive sword attacks and mid-range combat in the night arena. Defeat him by controlling the arena with squires, maintaining distance, and using special attacks like Draconic Meteor, avoiding close combat. Racine, a water attribute heavy armored soldier, uses mines and sword attacks in the Deep Cave map, which features elevation changes. Counter Racine by having Valentine engage him while utilizing squires and Draconic Meteor, and don't fear close combat. The guide also mentions 2 free maps: the Evil Spirit Temple, emphasizing high ground control and squire management, and the Sky Palace, requiring circling and avoiding water traps. The importance of strategic squire deployment, particularly for depleting enemy life force, is emphasized throughout the guide. This page is a frame guide completion commemorative article featuring an interview with the development staff. The interview includes Kenichiro Tsukuda, the producer, and Nozomu Iwai, the designer, both from Software. They discuss the development of Frame Guide, emphasizing it was designed to fully utilize the Dreamcast's capabilities. They mention the evolution of the game from its initial concept shown at game shows, the various specification changes implemented, and the challenges of developing for the Dreamcast. The interview highlights the focus on visual quality, smooth gameplay, and the implementation of online multiplayer, which was a dream from the beginning. They talk about overcoming technical hurdles and achieving a satisfying final product, especially praising the Dreamcast's processing power for enabling features like snow effects without slowdown. The next page is a special interview with the developers of Frame Guide, a Dreamcast communication battle game where players can experience thrilling online combat. The interview features programmer Kazuyuki Saito and map designer Yasuhiro Kamimura from Software CS Development Department 1. The developers discussed the challenges of creating a smooth online experience, focusing on maintaining a stable frame rate, initially aiming for 60 frames per second but settling for 30 due to communication limitations. They highlight the importance of network functionality and user feedback in game development. They talk about the excitement of online battles and the unique enjoyment it offers, even revealing that they themselves enjoy playing it for hours, forgetting they are testing. The interview touches upon the importance of player etiquette and responsible use of phone line connections, as excessive usage could lead to high phone bills, a relevant concern for players at the time. They also mention the game's visual appeal and the team's dedication to creating a compelling user experience. They express their desire to keep improving the game based on user feedback and explore the possibilities of online gaming further. The developers mention considering a 2 version in the future that significantly evolves from the original concept rather than just being a simple update. The page also contains screenshots of Frame Grid, showcasing the mecha action and desert environments of the game. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Air Force Delta. It showcases the game's focus on aircraft and highlights the variety of planes available to players in the game's second playthrough, including the F-15E Strike Eagle, Su-34 Platypus, F/A-18C Hornet, AV-8B Harrier II, Su-27B Flanker, and BAE Sea Harrier. Each aircraft is presented with an image and key performance stats, such as length, wingspan, weight, top speed, and cruising range. The text also describes the aircraft's real-world counterparts and their in-game characteristics, emphasizing their strengths and roles. The game is described as a shooting game for 1 player and was released by Konami on July 29th for 5,800 yen. This page highlights new aircraft available in the Dreamcast game Aero Wings, known as Aero Dancing F in Japan, showcasing 3 planes that can be unlocked and used. These include the EE Lightning F6, a British supersonic fighter from 1957, the MiG 1.44 MFI, a Russian experimental prototype described as the latest aircraft in the game, and the S-37 Berkut, another Russian prototype with forward-swept wings. The page also details new special option settings that become available after completing the game once. These options include unlimited missile firing and the ability to customize the HUD color after destroying over 100 enemies in total. Additionally, players can choose to hide the HUD entirely after exceeding 100 total calculated evasion maneuvers, with these records visible in the game's ranking system. An example ranking table for easy mode is shown, displaying various player statistics like playtime and enemy destruction counts. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Air Force Delta, known as Deadly Skies outside of Japan. The page details 5 missions. Mission 01, Homeland Air Defense Battle, focuses on practicing attacking bombers from behind. It emphasizes understanding the vulnerability and lethal cones of enemy aircraft. Mission 02, Intercepting Fleet Interdiction, involves focusing attacks on enemy fleets, suggesting destroying the flagship to quickly end the mission. Mission 03, Military Factory Base Recapture, is set at high altitude and requires attacking ground targets like factories, advising players to be cautious of missile attacks from the ground. Mission 04, High-Speed Reconnaissance Aircraft Pursuit, involves chasing fast reconnaissance aircraft, recommending the MiG-31 Foxhound due to its speed, and highlighting the difficulty of catching up with the target except during mid-air refueling. Mission 05, Air Combat Battle, is about engaging multiple enemy aircraft, including F-22 Raptors, which are stealth aircraft and require careful observation to locate on radar, as well as other aircraft like F-4E, JAS-39, MiG-21, F-20, and MiG-29. The guide recommends focusing on the F-22 Raptors first, as they are the strongest enemies. The next page is a strategy guide for a helicopter combat game, quite likely a Dreamcast title. It details 3 missions. Mission 06, Transport Helicopter Defense, where the objective is to protect a transport helicopter from approaching enemies after it takes off from the airport within 2 minutes of the mission start, prioritizing enemy fighters and destroyers. Mission 07, Canyon Base Attack, involves attacking a base hidden in a mountainous area by navigating a narrow canyon, emphasizing the use of radar for expert pilots due to the terrain, and suggesting players pay attention to posture to avoid crashing into canyon walls. Enemy helicopters like AH-64s are mentioned.
Finally, Mission 08, Prisoner Rescue, is similar to Mission 06, but now in a prison camp setting. The goal is to secure air superiority and the escape route for the rescue helicopter, with numerous targets requiring efficient attacks. Enemy units include B-2, F-4F, and Mi-24. The guide gives tips for each mission, including prioritizing targets and maneuvering through environments. Screenshots show in-game cockpit views and map overviews. Enemy units like Kfir, unknown aircraft, destroyers, carriers, Mi-24, AH-64, MiG-29, and UH-60 are identified, along with locations like airport, base, and prison camp. This page provides mission strategy information for Arrowwings, known as Arrow Dancing F in Japan. It details tactics for 3 specific missions: 09, 10, and 11. Mission 09, Nuclear Transport Interdiction, requires players to destroy a train carrying nuclear resources within a 10-minute time limit. The strategy suggests targeting the train before it enters a tunnel and using A-10 or MiG-29 aircraft. The lead train car is highlighted as the primary target. Mission 10, Oil Base Suppression, instructs players to destroy surrounding facilities of an oil base without damaging the base itself. It recommends attacking pipelines and turrets from the air, mentioning that the base is near Mission 3, and cautioning about protected facilities. C-5B aircraft are noted for transporting troops, and it's advised to intercept them to prevent troop landings. F-16 and OILTANK aircraft are mentioned, with advice to eliminate one F-16 at a time. F-5E and P-LANT locations are also pointed out. Mission
11, Conference Room Defense, focuses on defending a conference building from enemy aircraft attacks, as a ceasefire agreement is expected. The strategy emphasizes prioritizing incoming missiles targeting the building, with the warning that defending close to the building increases risk due to missile proximity. MRMT missiles are mentioned, with advice to intercept those closest to the player's aircraft first. F-20, EF-2000, and conference building enemy aircraft are mentioned, but it is stated that attacking these enemy fighters directly is acceptable if needed. Su-27B aircraft are also listed. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Arrowwings 2, Air Combat, known as Arrow Dancing F in Japan. It outlines strategies for 3 missions. Mission 12, Forest Fortress Annihilation, Mission 13, Fortress Base Destruction, and Mission 14, Satellite Interception Operation. Mission 12 advises attacking from above due to the underground fortress and to eliminate large bombers in standby. Enemies include AV-8Bs, Rafale fighters, YF-23s, and the XBC-97 bomber. Mission 13, described as an easier stage, focuses on ground attacks against a fortress base. It warns of missiles hidden by terrain, but emphasizes the effectiveness of ground attacks. Enemies include Su-27s, Tornado fighters, MiG-29s, and multiple F-22 fighter groups. Mission 14 is about intercepting satellites by destroying their 4 wings quickly. The guide notes the satellites are not fast-moving and recommends focusing on destroying 1 wing at a time while ignoring enemy fighters. Enemies include M944, M361, F-155 mount fighters, and X-36 aircraft. The guide recommends the A-10 Thunderbolt II aircraft for Mission 14, highlighting its slow and stable flight at low speeds and its ability to still catch up to satellites at high speed, making it an ideal choice for this mission. This page is a strategy guide for 3 missions in Ace Combat 3. Electrosphere. Mission 15. Drift Ice Base Search. Tasks you with finding a hidden base in the Northern Sea, targeting 5 submarines that are located within the base. Visual detection is key because radar is ineffective against them, and low-altitude attacks are advised. The recommended aircraft are F/A-18C, JAS-39, and Su-37. Mission 16. Mountain Base Capture is set in a tunnel-like mountain base, requiring careful target elimination. It's highlighted that rushing in is dangerous due to obstacles, so minimizing entries and utilizing stealth aircraft like the F-22, F-20, and YF-23, along with the JAS-39, is recommended. Finally, Mission 17, Mobile Unit Annihilation, focuses on destroying numerous mobile targets, including the aircraft carrier CVX. Due to the high target count, prioritizing the primary objective is essential, as missile supplies could become limited. High-performance aircraft, like the X-36, are available for this mission. This page is a strategy guide focusing on missions for Ace Combat 3, Electrosphere. It covers missions 18, 19, and 20. Mission 18, titled Fortress Island Strategy, involves attacking a fortress island. The advice is to avoid anti-air fire from the island and concentrate on ground targets with aircraft like the S-37, MiG-29, and Su-27B being featured. Mission 19, True Fortress Island Strategy, is described as a more challenging version of the previous mission, now against a true fortress island that possesses nuclear missiles. The mission features more advanced aircraft, such as the YF-23, JAS-39, JSF, F-14D, and F-22 as enemies. Mission 20, Showdown, is the final mission and a one-on-one battle against a high-speed enemy aircraft, the MFI. The guide suggests keeping up with the opponent's high-speed maneuvers to secure victory, and emphasizes reading the opponent's next move, targeting ace pilots in particular. The page also includes gameplay screenshots and tips on piloting techniques for expert players, suggesting methods to counter enemy maneuvers, highlighting the F-22 as a top-tier aircraft for dogfights. The next page is about Marionette Handler, a programming robot battle game for Dreamcast. It highlights 6 basic marionette types, outlining their strengths and weaknesses in categories like speed, attack power, and defense. The page also provides advice on purchasing parts for your marionette, recommending high-performance CPUs and memory. The page showcases Program A, a sample program for players to use. It breaks down the program's logic into 3 key steps: initial positioning, movement and search, and enemy discovery and attack. The program is described as versatile for all types of marionettes, although it may struggle with obstacles, but it should perform adequately on a flat field. Recommended radar settings are also mentioned. This page showcases programming strategies for a Dreamcast mecha combat game. It presents 2 example programs, Program B and Program C, designated as Type 2 and Type 2I respectively, alongside descriptions of their combat styles. Program B focuses on aggressive, close-range combat, with strategies for engaging opponents directly and utilizing subweapons. Program C details a more tactical approach, emphasizing evasion, standard attacks using main, sub, and special weapons, and obstacle avoidance. The page highlights radar settings and weapon usage, suggesting players can customize their mecha's AI for different combat scenarios, and rule sets like Western Rule and WMA Rule. It appears to be a strategy guide section explaining how to program mecha behaviors for effective combat in this game. This page showcases 2 robot programs, Program D and Program E, for robot combat. Program D, designed for TYP-4 robots, focuses on a jump shot strategy to counter opponents head-on. It involves a sequence of actions: jumping to evade enemy attacks, searching all around for the opponent using radar, and then attacking. Program E, for type versus robots, is a more basic program, emphasizing aerial combat with a sky attack and quick jump approach. It involves jumping to a high point to attack, and then retreating to the starting position, using a quick jump technique to surprise opponents and dodge attacks. The page highlights that Program D is more effective with lightweight robot types like TYP-1 or TYP-E6. Radar settings for both programs are recommended for long, medium, and short ranges. This page is focused on the announcement of the Internet Battle MB tournament for Mario Net Battle, which is happening online. The tournament is set for August 31st, 1999, with preliminary rounds taking place weekly. The page details the tournament flow, from user registration to the announcement of results. It also highlights in-game programming features, like enemy marking avoidance, enemy bullet avoidance, and special attacks. The prizes for winners are detailed, including a Mario Net original garage kit and in-game currency, with even third place getting some in-game credit. The game appears to be a mech-style battle game based on the screenshots of the program interface labeled Program F and Type 6. This page is all about attack and defense motion checks in The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999 on Dreamcast, which is a Neo Geo Pocket-linked title. It's issue 4 of a character-specific one-point strategy guide. The page details attack and defense motion check and focuses on guard point techniques within special moves, explaining how to guard and attack simultaneously. It highlights specific moves for different characters, including Terry Bogard's Rising Tackle, Ryo Sakazaki's Ryu-Ga, Reimei Gao, Chanko Han's Tetsukyu Funsageki, and others like Kyo Kusanagi's Oniyaki, Red Kick, and Poison Bite, as well as Iori Yagami's Kuzukaze. The guide gives advice on when and where the guard point activates during each move, and how to utilize these moves effectively in combat, especially against ground-based attacks and for initiating counterattacks. This page is a strategy guide for the Orochi team in a 2D fighting game. It focuses on 3 characters, Yashiro Nanakase, Shermie, and Chris, likely from a King of Fighters title, given the character names and style. For Yashiro, the guide emphasizes ground combat and throws, recommending jump B, crouching B, and jet counters against the CPU. The key combo is shown as jump B, close standing Y, plus A, and weak jet counter. Shermie is described as weaker in ground battles and reliant on throws. The guide suggests using Shermie Hoip and Shermie Cute combinations, approaching with jump Y, and using Shermie Hoip against the CPU. The combo is detailed as melee jump Y, close standing Y, Shermie Hoip into Shermie Cute. For Chris, distance control with special moves is highlighted. Against the CPU, it's advised to use single shot plus X into shooting dancer thrust, weak slide touch, and glider stamp. A combo is shown as jump B, close standing Y, plus X, and strong shooting dancer thrust. The guide breaks down basic attack flowcharts and continuous techniques for each character. Akihabara Denogumi Patapais is a friendship-raising simulation game where players build relationships with over 50 characters through a friend network. Increasing friendship levels unlocks events. The game features Patapai partners, whose development is influenced by Patapai parameters, affecting the like gauge. Events include Knowledge. Sakura Josui Suzume tests the player's Patapai at LV6. Light. Suzume and her Patapai at LV5. Work part. Sakurabe Kuji and his Patapi Tenku. Great Mount Okayama. Okayama Suguru and Kantaro. And 2 Head Pond. Kujiora Tuko and Ponta, her Patapai. These events showcase character personalities and their relationships with their Patapai. The game boasts over 200 events, suggesting extensive gameplay. The page introduces several characters and their Patapai partners in a game. Unagaya Yuji, a narcissistic character with Pierre, and Kashimata Raika, with Platina, are presented. Hanakogane Hibari and Densuke offer a hot cake baking event. Yokomi Rushiru, with Sasuke, is a reporter pursuing scoops. Tojujo Tsugumi and Tetsuro hint at idle aspirations, while Sengakuji Kaede, paired with Seiki, is money-driven. Teramachi Kamome, with Biriken, represents the Wind Discipline masked gang. The page also highlights in-game items that boost character stats, encouraging players to utilize them. This page is a Dreamcast Magazine feature for the game Elemental Gimmick Gear, also known as EGG, an action RPG by Hudson Soft. It is presented as a strategy guide for the final battle against the boss, Norman's Guard. The page highlights the developer's advice for this challenging encounter, stating that the key attacks are punches and supernova, emphasizing to observe the boss's movements closely, especially when it deploys shields. The strategy guide is broken down into 4 steps. Step 1 advises to primarily use punches when the boss is not attacking, closing in to deliver 3 punches then retreating. Step 2 addresses the boss's jumping phase and laser attacks, recommending using a spin dash to evade and then attack with punches when the shield is down. Step 3 describes the boss's cannon attack and suggests dashing close to the boss's front to avoid damage and attack safely. Final step discusses the final phase, where the boss turns green and is vulnerable to supernova attacks. It recommends using elemental energy to power up and unleash supernova to finish the fight and bring peace to Tokyon. The page includes screenshots showcasing gameplay during the final boss battle and a photo with an interview section featuring developer Suzuki Hirokazu, who explains that the boss design limits attack options to punches and supernova and highlights the strategic elements of the battle. The game was released on May 27th, priced at 5,800 yen. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Seventh Moon. It reveals that after 5,000 years, Fanya has finally submerged. The text discusses the defeat of Norman and Sikamaza, bringing peace to Tokyon. The guide highlights that the characters appearing in the ending will change depending on the player's actions throughout the game. It lists specific characters like Rukuru and Kevin, Faye, Ross, and Menamo, and mentions conditions for them to appear in the ending, such as playing through Rukuru Leisureland completely, receiving a mind capsule from Faye, and hearing about Juji's past. A section also details the character Selen and how talking to her affects the ending dialogue. The guide suggests that players who diligently interact with Selen will receive a more favorable and emotional final conversation compared to players who maintain a distance. This page is a strategy guide focused on getting all items in Gitaru-Man, a rhythm action game. It explains that to obtain all power-up parts for EGG, players must fully understand the minigames. The guide details how to gather Metamo creatures, which are in 4 colors and located in various areas. Yellow Metamo in the Path Cave, blue Metamo in the water near Foggy Edge, red Metamo in the Fog Tower entrance, and green Metamo in the 1F skill room. The guide offers rescue tips for specific block puzzles in the game. It mentions that collecting 4 adult Metamo in a room can lead to rare items, including 10,000 Gabaro, super parts, and sub-tanks. The page also includes a Quiz Old Man Complete Answer section, presenting 6 questions and answers related to characters and events in Gitaru-Man. The questions cover topics such as Kotaro's grandmother, the relationship between EGG and Wasi, Ririna's age, the identity of the mysterious traveler, the living dictionary nickname, and the food EGG eats. This page is a strategy guide for EGG, focusing on the trial and race mode. The guide provides course tips, breaking down the race into sections like Iceburn course, complex curve course, and jump platform course, and detailing point locations within the courses. It also includes trial strategy advice for different rooms, such as using spin dash in the first room and block puzzles in the second room, wire arm usage in the third room, and time management in the fourth room. There's an emergency notice section announcing a figure contest EGG tournament for the game, seeking video submissions of high-score gameplay and mentioning prizes. At the bottom are quiz questions related to the Washi character, a recurring figure from Japanese folklore or stories, covering topics from gifts received, bravery, and age. The next page features an interview with professional wrestler Toshiaki Kawada, who is described as Dangerous K and the Vice President of All Japan Pro Wrestling. The article is titled, "The Man Who Inherits the Royal Road," and is part of a series called Concentrated Serialization Number 4. The interview discusses Kawada's wrestling career, his decision to focus on wrestling after initially considering university, and his training experiences. He mentions that his training was focused on quality over quantity compared to his amateur days, with intense, short sessions. He also talks about the struggles of being a rookie, and his motivation to convey his fighting spirit and emotions to the audience in his matches. A profile section provides details about Kawada. His full name, Toshiaki Kawada. Kawada Toshiaki. Birth date December 8, 1963, birthplace Tochigi Prefecture, and mentions his debut on October 4, 1982, at the Chiba Okawara Coast Grand Sumo Tournament. It states he won the Triple Crown Championship by defeating Mitsuharu Misawa and later returned the title due to injury. At the time of the interview, he was aiming to regain the Triple Crown in a match against Mitsuharu Misawa. His height and weight are listed as 183 centimeters and 105 kilograms. This page is a strategy guide focused on playing as Toshiaki Kawada in the wrestling game Giant Graham. It highlights the core gameplay being based around wrestling fundamentals and reading the opponent. Kawada's in-game persona is described as someone who controls the match pace with techniques to wear down opponents. The guide breaks down match strategy into phases. Opening match, focusing on swift strikes and establishing control. Mid-match, where using powerful moves like backdrop suplexes and brainbusters is key. An ending match, where the aim is to finish the opponent with devastating moves like Stretch Plum. The page also includes an interview section with Kawada, where he discusses wrestling philosophy, the importance of audience reaction, and the intensity of matches, especially in the Budokan arena. He mentions that for motion capture in the game, he was injured at the time. Kawada believes wrestling is about conveying something to the audience beyond just technical skill. This page is about the upcoming Dreamcast Magazine Cup tournament for the game 7th Cross Evolution. It's an online tournament with two categories: undifferentiated class and middle class. The page details the tournament regulations, including a rule against double entries, meaning only one creature per person can participate. There's also a breakdown of the prize system, with rewards for top positions in both classes, such as 20,000 yen for the champion of the undifferentiated class. The tournament schedule lists dates in August and September for both classes, highlighting that these are the second and third tournaments planned. The page also gives a brief overview of the game's mechanics, mentioning part customization to enhance creature stats such as HP, EP, attack, eat, defense, intelligence, heal, and dexterity. This page is a report on the first no-rank tournament held for the game 7th Cross Evolution. It announces Knight as the winner of the tournament. The article highlights that the finals involved strategic use of Force Shield and EXPOWER. It shows screenshots of the matches featuring characters identified as MO1, Alpha, Knight, and Machua, who were participants in the tournament blocks D, E, I, and N respectively. The article also points out the popularity of the Crystal form among players, noting it was the most frequently registered form in the tournament, with 1 in 10 participants choosing it. Finally, there's a comment from 7th Cross's producer, Hiroaki Fukugawa, who expresses surprise at the high level of competition despite the short notice for the event, and anticipates even fiercer competition in the next tournament, suggesting downloadable rankings and future events. The next page showcases user-submitted content for World Neverland Plus, Olrud Kingdom Stories. It focuses on 4-panel manga strips, with the theme, Enjoying Life in the Kingdom. The theme for this submission was daily life, focusing on how to make friends, relax, and utilize the hot springs in the game. The submitted 4 Koma comics illustrate these themes. One section explains the relationship color codes within the game. Blue signifies other people, green represents friends, pink indicates lovers, and orange denotes family life. It also notes that you can only have up to 4 friends at once, and befriending someone might mean someone else becomes just another person. There's a user submission at the bottom featuring a drawing of an IM, described as a bouncing IM from the Plus version, used as a screensaver, submitted by a player from Gifu Prefecture. The Old Kingdom Correspondence section of the magazine features reader comic submissions. This includes the Comic Writer of the Week, showcasing Tuma Usawa and his IM-themed manga. The section also presents Adults Time, with sample 4-panel comic strips. Readers are invited to submit their own 4-panel comics. Guidelines specify panel size, 55mm by 40mm. Overall page size, margins, vertical dialogue in pencil, and color submissions. Line thickness should be moderate. Submissions become the property of SoftBank Publishing and will not be returned. Improperly sized submissions may be rejected. Example comics depict character evolution in games, and a married couple navigating privacy concerns in the Old Kingdom. This page showcases a feature titled Ostrich Tank Ram Assault Seminar, focusing on Truth Sword, which is Part 7, called Cypher. It appears to be an in-depth look at a Virtuaroid named Cypher from the game Virtual on Oratorio Tangram. The page features a large image of the Cypher Virtuaroid, highlighting its design. The text details the planning and creation credits, mentioning Kawara Juro for planning and writing, Virtuon Works for 3D modeling, and Ari Shinji/Sega Enterprises for text design. It seems to be a design-focused article on this specific mecha unit from Virtuon Oratorio Tangram. The next page delves into the world of Cyber Troopers Virtuon Oratorio Tangram. It appears to be a detailed background story or lore explanation for the game, focusing on events in VC a year 4. The text describes the appearance of unidentified aircraft and their transformation into humanoid forms, highlighting a battle and the VR technology. The narrative talks about a conflict involving DU-01 and FR-08 factions, mentioning resources like V-crystals and V-converters. It mentions a character named Dr. Eisenman and a conflict involving DNA division fleets and plants such as Satchel Mouse, SM06, and Fresh Refo, FR08. The text concludes with mentions of alliances between factions and plants, including TSC Dranman, TSC, and RNA, and the adoption of VR, RVR42, and Cypher as formal equipment on the RNA side. The overall tone is narrative, explaining the complex fictional universe of Virtual Aran Oratorio Tangram. This page showcases the RVR42 cipher from the Virtual On series, specifically the High Mobility Variable Machine cipher. It details the development of the cipher, a cutting-edge second-generation virtual reality VR mecha, by researcher Dr. Eisenman and Mashu Otori at Plant 6, SM06. Developed in secrecy due to VR development restrictions after Dr. Eisenman's prior work on the Viper series, the cipher utilizes a new high-efficiency, high-output hybrid V-converter for enhanced performance. The text highlights the cipher's exceptional mobility and attack power, achieved through a variable mechanism enabling rapid deployment in battle, establishing its unique combat style focused on speed and long-range engagement. The text also mentions a crisis at Plant 8, Fresh Refrain, involving Dr. Eisenman and Mashu Otori, and the cipher's connection to the TSC Doranman and RNA, solidifying its position as a key RNA mecha. The page features images of the cipher in two configurations, Cipher, Varkaroid, and Cipher, Motor Slasher, showcasing its variable transformation capabilities and distinct appearances in each mode. This page showcases Cybertrooper's Virtual Aeon Oratorio Tangram. It details the Revenant 2 Vergers 3.28, a model from the Jury Company, highlighting its cipherhead part and metamorphic sequence. The page includes notes delving into the game's lore, mentioning the post-industrial society setting, the importance of V-crystals, and the development of VR technology by Plant 2, independent of TSC jurisdiction, with RNA support. The next issue preview teases a feature on Plant 8's secrets and the test VR system called VAL System. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Cybertroopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Ver.5.4. It's promoting a national tournament for the game, calling out to Virtual On players across the country to assemble and participate. The tournament format is highlighted as 3-on-3 team battles, emphasizing strategic team composition and tactics beyond individual machine combat skills. The advertisement features prominent artwork of the mecha robots from the game, showcasing the fast-paced, robotic action of Virtual Edison. This page is an advertisement for the Cybertroopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram National Team Tournament, using version 5.4 of the game. The tournament is a 3-person team battle format, emphasizing team strategy. The schedule includes entry registration starting in early August, area tournaments from September 15th to 19th, and the national final on October 11th at Roppongi VELFARRE. The page outlines tournament rules and team formation guidelines. Producer Jiro Watari is also featured on the page with a message promoting the event. This page is focused on the control system of Dead or Alive 2. It highlights the F button as a key new feature, referring to it as the Mystery F button. The page details the basic controls, punch and kick buttons, along with the directional pad for movement and guarding. It explains that Dead or Alive 2 offers a flexible control scheme, catering to different players familiar with other 3D fighting games. 3 control types are outlined. Type A is described as the standard Dead or Alive style, using the F button for holds and emphasizing counterattacks. Type B is for Virtua Fighter players, where the guard is mapped to the F button, combined with lever and buttons for techniques. Type C is for Tekken players, with guard being handled by the lever and the F button used for stepping actions. The page also asks readers about their experience with 3D fighting games, listing Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, and Tekken as examples, and discusses how Dead or Alive 2 aims to accommodate players from various fighting game backgrounds. Screenshots from Dead or Alive 2 are shown, displaying in-game action. This page features a Team Ninja interview with the producer of Dead or Alive 2, DOA2. Focusing on the game's operation system concept, the producer explains the intention was to create a deep and immersive fighting game experience beyond just stance and attacks, emphasizing the importance of intuitive controls for both new and experienced players. The interview discusses the evolution of 3D fighting games from Virtua Fighter and how DOA aims to differentiate itself with a refined control scheme using 3 buttons, focusing on pure fighting game enjoyment. The page also highlights key gameplay elements of DOA 2, such as the GPK system, angulation, 3D terrain, and axis movement, contrasting it with Virtua Fighter's system. It mentions offensive rush chain movement, defensive hold/evasive movement, and counterattack/DH system, comparing these to Tekken and DOA 1 respectively in terms of combat style and mechanics. There's a column titled Ikarina's Diary, and sections encouraging readers to submit ideas for DOA 2 goods and in-game character actions. The page also details the lever and 3-button control scheme of DOA 2, explaining features like defensive hold and free step, with accompanying screenshots demonstrating these mechanics and their strategic advantages in combat and positioning. It teases the next issue will delve into the mystery of the F button. This page is all about the upcoming fan disc for the original Senkoku Turb game, called Senkoku Turb Fan I less than 3 me dunce double entender. The feature explains the meaning behind the title, noting double means 2 times or 2 layers, and double entendre refers to hidden meanings, and clarifying it's a French phrase for the nuance. The fan disc will feature minigames set in the world of TURB, and you can download character illustrations to your visual memory. There's also a battle cameraman mode, where you can run around battlefields. It mentions online connectivity to the Turb world may also be possible. Reader submissions are being accepted for the magazine, specifically illustrations for the visual memory and ideas for new corners. Winning submissions for the magazine's corners will receive a Kuma keychain as a prize. The Illustrations of the Day and Night section showcases fan art from readers, including pieces by Sajan from Hokkaido and Yamanashi Prefecture. In the top right, game information boxes detail Senkoku Turb, an action RPG released by NEC Home Electronics in January 1999, and Senkoku Turb Fan I less than 3 me dunce double entender, which is a fan disc also from NEC Home Electronics, with an unannounced release date and price, noted as compatible with visual memory. This page showcases a manga section for Evolution, the World of Sacred Device, identified as episode 15 by the author Ueda. On the right, character introductions are presented, detailing Chain Carr, a 15-year-old girl from the Launcher family who is particularly sensitive when the topic of her mother arises. We also meet Mag Launcher, Chain's 16-year-old brother, who is in training to become a distinguished adventurer, continuing his family's legacy. Lastly, Linear Canon is introduced as an enigmatic girl who appears at Mag's home holding a letter from his missing father, and she possesses mysterious abilities like being able to bring plants back to life. The manga panels on the left illustrate Chain, Mag, and Linear in an adventurous and humorous scenario, seemingly involving a dog and encounters with monster-like creatures. This strategy guide for the Sega Saturn game, with Yu Mitsumite Itai, aims to help players navigate the game's character routes, especially after completing one. Focused on Maria and Ayan's scenarios, the guide stresses the importance of increasing affection level through strategic choices. Specific event advice is provided. Selecting Ayan in a waitress outfit boosts her affection during her merciless declaration of service event. During Maria's persistent criminal visit, players should be firm. For the club activities and Maria which to choose event, choosing club activities is beneficial. In the forced showdown with senior event, choosing practice triggers an Ayan scene, rooftop, a Maria scene. Responding with, I don't want to fight, or, not good, raises affection in either case. A final tip suggests revisiting locations up to 3 times for additional conversations. This guide is a strategy resource for the Sega Saturn game, Graduation, detailing event walkthroughs focused on developing relationships with female characters. It outlines key choices impacting these relationships, such as deciding who to walk home, whom to visit when ill, and how to spend lunch breaks. Specific events covered include situations involving Manami, Naori, Miyako, Yoriko, and teacher Michiru. The guide provides strategies for progressing through individual character storylines, emphasizing choices that maximize affection and lead to favorable outcomes. Common events, such as those at the library, are also analyzed for their relationship impact. This page details a strategy guide for a Sega Saturn game, focusing on events with characters named Naori and Manami. The guide highlights several key events triggered on specific dates. On June 11th, there's a Naori-chan recital event, a karaoke scene where accepting her invitation is important to increase her affection. For June 13th, the guide mentions an event the day before the athletic meet, where, if Naori's affection is high enough, a massage event can occur. Choices made here matter. June 14th covers an event about the reason for continuing to run, likely related to the athletic meet. A special visual is shown if you reach this scene and Naori's affection is high, with choices to further increase it. June 15th features a Test of Courage in the School Building at Night event with both Naori and Manami. Manami's affection level is also a factor here. June 16th is about various words of appreciation after a part-time job event with Naori. Choosing the right words here is key to improving her affection. Finally, on June 21st, there's an event described as Arm in Arm, Escort to the Water's Edge, with Manami at the beach. The choice of whether to go into the water is significant, and timing is important. The page emphasizes the importance of affection levels with both Naori and Manami for triggering and maximizing these events, and suggests that specific choices during these events influence the character relationships. This page focuses on the PC game Ugisu Toy Box. It's described as an accessory collection that features the heroines from the main game and allows you to enjoy mini adventures with them. The game includes things like desktop accessories, wallpaper collections, screensavers, and various minigames. The release date is stated as September 17th. One highlighted minigame is called Manami's Neko Neko Panic, where you play as Manami and have to save kittens falling from telephone wires. Red cats are supposedly 3 times faster than normal cats. The page also previews in-game events. One event on June 11th, a common event, shows Sayeko encountering the protagonist in a schoolyard scene. Another event on June 19th, a vegetable garden event, shows Manami and the protagonist walking home together after fulfilling certain conditions and improving their relationship. The page suggests focusing on raising your affection level with Manami over Sayeko during gameplay. Characters Michiru, Miyako, and Manami are shown in speech bubbles giving gameplay advice, such as saving frequently and replaying from save points if you fail. This page is dedicated to the upcoming Sakura Wars Song Show 3, Red Hot Paris stage performance. It expresses the growing excitement from fans as the show in July draws near and provides pre-show information. Rehearsals are underway with key figures like Hiroi and Tanaka and the Flower Troupe. The dance sequences are said to be more challenging than previous shows, with updated choreography for songs like Imperial Flower Troupe. The page also promotes the Sakura Wars Song Collection CD, which is currently on sale and features songs expected to be performed at the show, encouraging fans to learn the songs in advance. Directions are included for first-time attendees on how to get to the Tokyo Welfare Pension Hall venue from Shinjuku Station, ensuring an easy route for everyone attending the performance. Rehearsal photos showcase the cast practicing and capture the energetic atmosphere of the preparations. This page promotes the Sakura Wars Song Show 3, Hong Kong Glamorous Emperor, a stage show based on the popular Sakura Wars game series on Sega Saturn, which was never officially released outside of Japan. It advertises official merchandise for the show, including items like towels, fans, and cups. Interviews are present with key staff in the cast, featuring the music director Kohei Tanaka and voice actors like Chisa Yokoyama, Ura Takano, and Mayumi Tanaka. They discuss their roles and express their excitement for the upcoming performances. The show schedule is also provided, with performances running from August 4th to August 7th at the Tokyo Kosei Nenkin Kaikan Hall, also known as Tokyo Welfare Pension Hall. This page is likely the front cover of a gaming magazine. It features the magazine's logo M prominently and highlights 2 main feature stories, Reverse Sega and Adult Game. It also announces this is the August 2nd issue, which went on sale on July 24th. The page lists games under Special, which include Runabout, Cult Scepter Expansion, Ace Combat 3, Electrosphere, and a section titled Zigai Reiji, Talk with Mikio Akimoto, which is likely an interview or article. Under GM Recommend, there is a list of games including Klonoa, Door to Phantomile, Giant Graham, Mario Golf 64, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 3, Departure no Yuta, Seaman, Poppin' Music, Kuon no Kizuna, Reincarnation, Buggy Heat, Stratosphere, Over My Dead Body, Comic Party, EverQuest, 99 Koshien, tribes, and lastly, akogare, possibly referencing a genre or game theme related to romance in games like Tokimeki Memorial. The cover image shows a large close-up of an anime-style girl character, and the magazine price is 980 yen. This page from Dreamcast Magazine's Sunnyside SNK section introduces the arcade version of King of Fighters 99 and highlights the 5 brand new original characters joining the roster. The article showcases the special moves and striker attacks for Maxima, Whip, Case, John Hoon, and Babao, providing a command list for each fighter's signature technique. For Maxima, it's the System 1 Bulldog Press. For Whip, it's the Spring Shot Type C. Code, Whip, K unleashes crow bites. John Hoon utilizes the Manto Kyaku, flying swallow kick, and Bao's striker attack is the Psycho Ball attack striker mix. Screenshots demonstrate these moves in action, and the striker attacks seem to share a common dinosaur world backdrop. The text briefly describes each attack, giving players a first look at the new characters and their fighting styles in King of Fighters 99. Emphasizing the new 4-person team system and the exciting addition of 7 new characters to the game overall. This page is about a Dreamcast Street Fighter 03, known internationally as Street Fighter Alpha 3, online network battle event. It seems to be a ranking event where players compete in survival mode. The grand prize for the champion is a CS tuner, which allowed for satellite TV viewing. The page outlines the competition rules, including using the Oleism character mode and survival mode, and highlights that there are no limits to the number of entries. It details how to apply for the competition through the 03 homepage, instructing participants to input their details and passwords when registering and uploading their scores. There are screenshots showing gameplay and the online entry form, explaining how to submit scores and personal details through the website. The page also provides important notes and precautions for participants. This magazine excerpt from Hello Capcom focuses on Street Fighter II Third Strike, highlighting its successful location tests, enthusiastic fan response, and improved sound design, including the release of the original soundtrack CD. The article also showcases fan art in a big push room section, featuring illustrations of various Capcom characters and games, like Mega Man X4, Street Fighter, Chun-Li, Vampire Savior, Lilith, and others, alongside commentary from the artists. A postcard recruitment center encourages readers to submit their own illustrations and writings to the magazine, providing the submission address. This page is a special interview commemorating the release of the third MIL CD with the female music group Deeps. The interview discusses the group's latest song, Heartbreak Diary, which is being released as a MIL CD. They explain that MIL CD is a new media format that allows users to enjoy music and promotional videos on the Dreamcast in an interactive way, almost like a game controlled by a gamepad. Ari mentions her excitement about MIL CD as it provides easy access to music videos of various artists, something she personally appreciates as a fan. The group seems enthusiastic about this new format and how it will allow fans to experience their music videos. DPS, a J-pop group, was interviewed about their MIL CD Heartbreak Diary for Dreamcast. The MIL CD format allowed users to enjoy both music and a promotional video on the console. Members Chi-IKI, ERI, and AKI discussed their Dreamcast experiences. AKI highlighted the value of the MIL CD, joking about people buying the console just to watch their PV. She and Chi-IKA mentioned playing Sonic Adventure. ERI admitted to being bad at games. Chi-IKA also mentioned the Dreamcast's internet capabilities, surprising ERI. AKI hoped more artists would release MIL CDs. The page also provided profiles of the members and details about the single's release, including its B-side track, Lucky Summer Days, and internet functionality. This page showcases the latest Dreamcast prizes hitting amusement centers during July and August. You can snag some cool plush toys based on Harvey Comics characters and the adorable Troy Warmer World Baby series. There are also funny Ken Shimura plushies and Club Croak Frog toys to collect. For Sakura Wars 2 fans, there are plushies of the characters. You can also win character-themed bags featuring various designs. And Sonic Adventure keychains and t-shirts are up for grabs too. It seems there's a chance to win some of these items by sending in an application. This page is showcasing Disney prizes available during July and August. The prizes include Nightmare Before Christmas body seals, a Mickey and Minnie Soba set, and Winnie the Pooh folding fans. There's also Pluto t-shirts, Mickey and Winnie the Pooh plush toys, color pair glasses featuring Mickey and friends, and various Winnie the Pooh items like planter stands, clocks, alarm clocks, Honey Pot plush toys, keychains, and mascots. They're also advertising a Nightmare Before Christmas book photo frame. Below this is a comic strip called Uni and Taki-chan's Flower Garden Volume 5. There's also a mention of the CGHP website with the URL http://www.sega.co.jp/. This page is an advertisement for a SoftBank publishing campaign from August to September 1999. The campaign is centered around strategy guides, and specifically mentions guides for SD Gundam G Generation Zero Navigation Guide and Soul Calibur Perfect Guide, and possibly other titles. By purchasing these strategy guides, you could enter a lottery to win prizes. The prizes listed are a WonderSwan handheld console, a GameSpot two-way bag, Neorang trading cards, and QUO cards worth 500 yen. This page is the Dreamcast Weekly Dreamcastrology Horoscope for the week of July 30th to August 5th. It provides fortune readings for each star sign, covering overall luck, love, money, and health. Each horoscope includes advice and lucky items for both men and women, with cute cartoon illustrations. The horoscopes are for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. The next page is an advertisement from Dreamcast Magazine promoting a Reader Prize giveaway. Prizes include Dreamcast games, Kamen Rider straps and pins, a Sky Perfect TV set, and frame guide posters and pins. The page also serves as a preview for the upcoming August 27th special edition of the magazine, which will feature articles on Soul Calibur, Cool Borders Burn, Buggy Heat, Dee's Diner 2, Marionette Company, Idol Wo Tsukuchou, Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team, Frame Guide, Giant Graham, and Photo Memories, with a special section dedicated to Soul Calibur. The page also lists the winners from the previous prize draw in the July 23rd issue. This page is an advertisement for two games. The first is Seventh Cross, a Dreamcast title described as a fighting integration disc, which allows players to battle online via the Seventh Cross Fighting Network. It also mentions a present campaign for an expansion software called Seventh Cross FID. The second game advertised is ESPIONAGEENTS, a new simulation game planned for release in September 1999. It is described as an industrial agents for active espionage game, where players command a team of 7 agents to solve various missions with changing situations and unexpected accidents. Screenshots show gameplay elements involving screen displays with character information and actions. At the bottom, the page promotes a website, http://www.nihit.gr.jp/, where players can download anime game character images and purchase character goods for PCFX and PC Engine games. This page is an advertisement promoting Sega Saturn games from Interchannel. It boasts that Sega Saturn is still going strong even after the release of Dreamcast. The recommended lineup includes 4 titles. With You Mitsumete Itai, a pure love story adventure game where you deepen relationships with 3 childhood friends, releasing on July 29th. Revelation Matrix, a complete revival of the popular SRPG to commemorate its anniversary, with a limited edition including a zero sheet, scheduled for release in August. Friends Seishun no Kagayaki, an adventure game about adolescence set in a junior high school, already on sale. Finally, Pia Carrot Iyukoso 2, a popular family restaurant simulation game where you experience various encounters and troubles with waitresses, also currently available. There are also 2 announcements. The first is for NEC Interchannel Fan Thanksgiving Day 2, to be held on August 7th at Hyros Building Event Hall, near Akihabara Station. The second announcement advises customers to contact user support for inquiries about Sega Saturn game software lineups, and help with obtaining games or introductions to nearby cooperating stores. The advertisement is from NEC Interchannel, located in Tokyo,